Being said, Crips, it's time for us to welcome the YouTube audience. Welcome back to Valorant Challenger South Asia, driven by Hyundai, and with our styling partner Philips One Blade. We've got the players walking.
You've got all of these players ready to rumble. They've performed really well throughout the group stage, and they were shy of the top spot by just one win. Now they are here to reclaim what they couldn't before. They're here to prove why they are worthy of lifting this trophy, and why they both deserve respect more than Velocity and Orangutan do. Even though Velocity and Orangutan topped their groups, these were the teams that were touted to take them down. They can be called the Kingslayers. Let's see who wears the crown today.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but their jerseys have golden stripes on it, both of them, so it's kind of cool. It's like a match made in heaven, you know? They've got the same pinch. If I was there, I would do the same pinch while I'm walking out, but I mean, it's okay. But moving on forward, I mean, the players, and yeah, the mystery is unfolded in front of us. Sai is going to be playing the first map. That means either we're going to be starting things off on Haven or Icebox, because these are the two maps so far we've seen Sai play on. I guess it's going to be Haven, considering it is the most fan favorite map and also the players' favorite map inside South Asia.
Yeah, that's a very good deductive reasoning. A good statement with determining the map leader based on which player is going to be playing. Oh man, you should be somewhat
he was walking away.
Sherlock.
Tix was just walking away in the back. He was like, all right, I guess it's done. We're just going to go and sit. This man just wants to play. He just wants to get his hands on the gear and warm up as quick as possible. It's understandable. I mean, it is the matchup. It is the start off. It is their showcase inside the playoffs. And who wouldn't be just stoked to get their hands on the gear and just try and dismantle the opponents? On the other hand, we've got the players at Reckoning Esports grouping up. It's sort of discussing, maybe having a little bit of pep talk. But one thing is really remarkable about Reckoning Esports. Whenever they bring up a tactical timeout, you see an instant shift and an instant improvement in the players' performance.
Yeah, that's because Reckoning Esports have such a deep playbook. They've got many variations of the same attack, and sometimes they've got completely different ball games altogether. So every time you see that tactical timeout, you will see a guaranteed shift in Reckoning Esports playstyle. And they just flip a page, man. They just go on to the next one, ignore whatever's happened in the past, ignore whatever tilt or discomfort they're feeling. Meanwhile, for God's will, whenever they take a tactical timeout, it's more along the lines of trying to read what their opponent is doing. So both these teams are like the perfect yin and yang. If they move along with each other, it's just going to turn into a race of who's ahead and which one of them is trying to make the moves first. Oh my goodness. Haven not on the map view anymore? That's
interesting.
But hey, I'm happy that Icebox is picked up.
Yeah. I'm really happy we're seeing Icebox out here, but we're seeing Ascent being picked up from Reckoning Esports, and that means we're going to be seeing almost the similar type of composition that we saw in the past from Reckoning Esports, where we saw them play that even Chamber was pulled out on this map. So I'm really excited for both these map picks, but Icebox being picked up and Haven being banned, this is definitely a huge surprise. And as I said, when we're going to be seeing the Psy on that stage, that means either he's going to be playing Haven or Icebox, because so far we have seen that man on both of those maps only. But soon enough, we're going to be traversing inside the map of Icebox. Crips, what are your expectations for the first map?
For the first map, I think God's Reign are looking quite solid. They've won quite a lot of matches on Haven. They won against True Rippers in the past. They also won against Militant and Godlike Esports. They lost Haven against Velocity Gaming, but that was really tiny of a margin. It was 11-3 loss for God's Reign, so I think the Haven looks solid. But I have bigger concerns over the rest of the map pool. Dude, we have never seen God's Reign play Ascent or Lotus.
That's a good point that you brought up. Really good point. And I guess today we'll be able to see them play on Ascent. Let's see if this series is going to be a complete 2-0 clean sweep, just like yesterday, or we're going to have a long series, all 3 maps, and a really competitive one. Only time can unfold that story. Before now, we're going to be heading inside the map of Icebox. Reckoning Esports versus God's Reign. God's Reign on the defending side and Reckoning Esports on the attack.
I'm actually very surprised. Reckoning Esports have not gone for the Harbor Viper composition. That's quite weird.
Yeah.
The last time we saw them pick it up, they had Harbor, Viper, Sova, Killjoy, and Jet. So now instead of the Harbor, they've got the Sage on Voya. Let's see how this affects them, because the Reckoning Esports found a lot of success with that Harbor. They were able to get a lot of map control without actually having to fight. Now they're going to have to contest God's Reign every step of the way.
I mean, they pretty much picked up OG's roster, OG's agent select, because they got absolutely destroyed by OG. So I guess you might as well try to pick what your opponent picked up in the past.
Yeah.
Instead, you just have that Omen on Flabbin. But once again, quite an aggressive approach from Reckoning Esports. And even their opponents, God's Reign, they're trying to capitalize and shut down the push as quick as possible right here. Reckoning Esports, they're now starting to fall back. Tix doesn't have any clue that there's a man pushed up in the back, but Master will be found. And God's Reign, somehow they're able to capitalize and take down the entire B main presence. But it's completely fine with God's Reign because they're going to get the spike plant down.
Placing swarm grenade.
Reckoning Esports, this is such a different approach from them. It's so weird to see all the attackers towards the snowman area and towards defenders spawn. Voya is actually going to be able to make a lot of difference because he's trying to circle around the God's Reign members who are trying to enter from orange. But he might be a bit late to the party. He needs to make a move right now. Nobody's checking Voya, so he can actually get a lot of kills over here. But the defuse being stuck on the back of that Sage wall, that's impressive. Deadly can't do anything. And it's up to Voya. He's nowhere close to the defuse. God's Reign kept this round for absolutely free.
A really solid way to kick things off and to start things off on this map. For God's Reign, I like that capitalization. 3 players just pushing up B main and stopping the presence off those 2 players. And the rest of the team was able to retake the site and get the spike defusal in quite quickly. In that spike defusal, Hoax had a huge hand considering he got the lurk set up. He got the flank set up all the way from kitchen and took down almost 2 players all by himself in the back line. So that was a huge stuff from Hoax.
Oh, the alarm bot smacking the center of that poison cloud. They break it. Brave teleport under screens. It's one of the safer ones because nobody's going to be looking directly under screens, even though Hoax knows where his opponent is. He's going to peek out and peek him. Oh, but Vipor can help him out over here. With them both crunching this mid presence, God's Reign get all the kills with no trouble whatsoever. Deadly uses the mid distraction to get all the way to its screens, but there's no way he can catch him.
Variable removed.
Things not looking that great for them. And Deadly 10 will fall off. That was the last man up and alive. It's quite interesting to see these changes, right? You're seeing Flabbin on that Omen. They've got no duelist on the composition. I'm still trying to wrap my head around why they've got no duelist, but I mean, it shouldn't make that huge of an impact or huge of a difference considering you just don't really have a Jet on the team. But let's see how they're going to try to plan it out because they've got double controllers. As you mentioned, instead of that Harbor, we're now seeing that Omen being pulled out and that Sage being pulled out. Sage, single-handedly on the map of Icebox, helps so much in those spike plants and those spike defusal. It's just so helpful. And we talked about this. We had an entire conversation about this in the group stage.
Yeah, but then again, if you have a Harbor on your team, you got the Cove, which can help you plant and defuse, which basically makes the Sage kind of redundant because you no longer lead that Sage wall. Plus, the length of the Harbor wall can cover a lot more area than the Omen smokes, which are kind of circular and very situational. So it's almost like the Harbor does the role of both of these agents. I'm assuming that because Reckoning don't have a diving initiator, they're going to use Flabin as a person who can cover ground very quickly. There's plenty of teleport spots in which Omen can use his Shrouded Step and get across land without being seen. So, like a pseudo Jet, he's gonna be the one to cover distance for his team. But then again, with Jet, it's very spontaneous. With Omen, it requires a lot more planning, and it's not that versatile. So, let's see how it pans out for Reckoning Esports.
I mean, Harbor Viper's, of course, better. It's a new meta, and it has been proven to be so effective, not just over here, even VCTs, and even in lock-ins, we've seen that meta being used so nicely and phenomenally. But once again, as a playing five, as a team, you don't really know what the comfort pick is going to be for your teammates, right? Maybe they were just not too comfortable on that map, especially when they got absolutely obliterated by OG. The score was 13-3. Maybe they realized something, that Harbor Viper isn't really their way to go or their way to play things on this map, and now they're trying some new stuff out because they don't want to be obliterated by God's Ring, just like the way they got obliterated by OG, right? Because there were some loopholes that were being found by OG, and there's a high chance God's Ring will probably try to use those same loopholes against Reckoning Esports, and just to bring that surprise element, they just probably changed the new composition, I guess.
Yeah, but the problem with the composition that Reckoning hands against OG is that they did not have a Sky. The whole premise of having a Harbor and Viper on your team is that you can get ahead by using the walls and the cascades, but then in order to actually fight, you need those flashes. So they didn't have those. So it's an incomplete adaptation of that composition. Now that they have it, they've got the paranoia to kind of help you get some flashes out, but it's not as effective as a Sky Guiding Light or something. Regardless, God's Reign are not going to have too much trouble because the composition they're following is currently meta. So, God's Reign, they have a very standard composition. Reckoning are the ones who have a slightly weirder one. It's going to be up to God's Reign to make sure that Reckoning don't really surprise them.
Ooh! That crosser placement, man, so perfect. Just waited for Woya to walk in his crosser, and that Bulldog's going to strike him down so easily. Woya gets surprised, didn't expect the man to be there. Just that single tap and the burst is going to seal the deal. Master just lurking around in mid, and maybe his presence will be spotted soon enough, but no, he's going to be able to sneak in inside the tube. Still's holding the outskirts, and finally decides to sneak in. His teammates towards the B main site, they have managed to get a decent amount of control. Flabin's all the way towards yellow, but the spike is all the way back in spawn.
Okay, this is a bit weird. Reckoning can get inside and maybe even cross ahead of their own Viper wall by using the Omen smokes as cover. But the question is, to what end? Like, what do they want to accomplish over here? They really are keen on taking Snowman control. A very different approach from the attackers like this to take deeper control and make sure the God's Ring can't really rotate in via the pathways, which kind of makes God's Ring uncomfortable, but the plant goes down. And now some of them are playing towards Yellow, while the others are playing towards Snowman. The flank from Master, good for one, but he's gonna give away a Vandal to Hoax.
Yeah, he was not really able to find the amount of value that was expected from him, but still, I guess he was at least able to get away with one, so that can be still counted as a reward. But if we would have gotten both of them, then that flank would have been truly there. Truly successful. Hoax is now going to start to wreak havoc on the site. He's managed to find out one. It's a 2-on-2 scenario, definitely pullable. God's Ring, they know exactly where the players are positioned. Deadly 10, unfortunately, is going to whip out the shots, not able to capitalize. Flabin's way too low, and Flabin's now trying to get as close as possible. He will take out the diffuser, and that will help him secure the round. Flabin goes huge with a 3K.
Flabin, what a difference maker. The fact that he played around those dark covers towards Kitchen and Oranges just kind of make sure that Reckoning can't enter from that area at all. And I'm sorry, not Reckoning, God's Reign can't enter from that area at all. And this makes retake so uncomfortable for God's Reign because they have to clear angles which they never had to worry about in any of their previous Icebox games. Yes, it's a bit weird, but as long as it works, it's amazing. And the fact that they balled the spike timer down to so little, all he has to do is connect one burst to the diffuser, it's done. Reckoning Esports get the buy around, but at the cost of 4 rifles. Quite expensive.
Is that a unupgraded Iron Phantom? That is, in Psy's hands. It looks so weird. I've never seen one. I mean...
I don't really care much for skins, honestly. I'm the kind of guy who has default weapons, so...
Oh, wow. Dude, trust me, skins win the game. Not even lying.
Okay, but if you're me, you're gonna lose regardless. So, anyway, self-burn aside, let's focus on this push from Reckoning.
Friendly fire.
It's a slow... self-inflicted wounds, bro.
Damn.
Vibor over here is ready with the Bulldog. Now, he's been quite sharp with the Bulldog in the past, but with all 5 people peeking him at once, I don't think he has much chance. Breaks the recon. Oh, wait, was that a team paranoia? That's weird. Hey, at least they don't die because of it. All they have to do is just get back. Lockdown will probably keep them away from planting the spike.
Ooh, what?
Sai is gonna spray them down. Amazing.
What a spray down. Melts 2 players in the front. But Deadly 10 will reply back even stronger. Sai, he gets sent back to sleep. And now the players of God's Reign, of course, trying to get their hands back inside the side, trying to crawl their way up in. The spike still went down, only 30 seconds left, and the spike planter will be killed. Deadly 10 goes huge with a 3K. He will find 3 for himself. Will also get the spike plant down, but he's got no clue that there's a man on the flank, and it's the name of Auden. Master is still there in the back lines. He's got the spike plant down with the help of Deadly 10, and now it's all up to him to try and pull off this clutch. Does he have any clue that there's a flank activated? Maybe now he does. He's expecting the man on the flank. Autumn, on the other hand, taking his sweet little time, not really overextending on things. He's just trying to find out where exactly the opponent is. But Master gets a glimmer, and he will shut it down.
Autumn, his idea of going on the flank was actually quite nice, but that kind of separated him away from his teammates. And it offered Master 1v1s. Like the Master he is, isolating the frags, winning the round for his team, which did seem quite gone for a bit of a time over there. The lockdown plays boiled down the timer to mere seconds, and especially that double kill from Sai made it look almost impossible for Reckoning. But they got the plant down in the end, and Master finished it too. Amazing stuff from Reckoning Esports. They somehow bring the round back from the brink of defeat.
Really good recon dart. I'm a huge fan of this push from Autumn. Let's see how many players he's able to find with the Sheriff. Still positions not marked, not given away. Should be able to find at least one, and he exactly does. And is also able to inflict a lot of wounds on the rest of the opponents. Hirsch will find Autumn. Man's being shut down instantly. On the other hand, though, they've also got the Resurrection available in the hands of Tix, and Vapori pushes up and finds Flabin. Reckoning Esports, they're getting picked apart one after the other. Definitely not a good news considering the fact that the opponents are on an eco, and still they're losing out weapons like this. And there's also Hunter's Fury available in the hands of Sai that will be utilized to try and cancel the plant. Vapor in close quarters, trying to stall the push for as long as possible, uses a snake bite inside the smoke, just to buy a little bit more time for the rotation.
Oh, with this plant, Voya's gonna have his resurrection. That is if he's allowed to plant in the first place. Master is down. All members of Reckoning Esports were just 1 point away from their ult, but Voya has no place left to stand. The wall gives him no cover. And now, it's all down to Harsh. Nearly impossible 1v3 to pull off. Spike dropped deep inside, and there's no safe passage across.
Ooh.
Gets the kill onto Hoax, but of course that was going to happen. He's going to get peeked instantly. Lovely conversion from God Rain. Getting a thrifty win. Brilliant.
Yeah, they're starting to push up from the gaps that are being left. God's Reign, they're able to find these type of free picks with the pushes, and it needs to be capitalized from Reckoning Esports. Especially what I've noticed, they did the same thing even in the pistol round where they pushed up from one side completely and caught him off guard. And now inside the eco round, they did the same thing when they had the sheriffs in the hand. So I guess whenever the economy isn't looking that great, Godsreen's game plan is to push up and try and punish their opponents.
Yeah, why not? They've got nothing to lose. The aggression from God's Reign kind of thwarts all the attempts of Reckoning Esports to take control on either side. I mean, it's not like Reckoning were not going to its A at all, right? They started off the round over there. They just spotted things out, and then when they were trying to go back to its B, the push from Autumn just came through, got them quite an important kill onto Flabin. Sai with the Hunter's Fury denied the plant, and then in that moment, they broke down the barrier orb which was covering Voya. So yeah, these risky approaches from Reckoning Esports of just sticking together and trying to protect their planter, it works sometimes, but it can be countered by God's Reign, and that's exactly what I said in the pre-game segment as well. God's Reign will have a counter to everything you have. But let's see them try to counter 5 ultimates.
Autumn, operator in the hand, looking to strike someone down. But instead will be now forced back, but he finds one fading away. Hirsch was the man who was caught. And this operator is now going to strike down even more bodies, if not taken care of in time. We'll fall back with the operator. Once again, side position for success inside the site. And his position still not known. Ticks pushing up all the way from rafters. This Viper's Pit is quite good, as long as they're not able to trust, or as long as they're able to hold it down pretty well. Just make sure that the opponents are not trespassing in. Tix will get the resurrection onto Hoax, so that's good news for Godsreen, and that will help him out in the retake pretty well, but it's a 3-on-5 scenario. Already in the favor of Godsreen. All they need to do is just find the bodies that are hiding inside the Viper's Pit, and they will.
I think it's still a good round from Reckoning Esports. They use only 1 ultimate in the process and get a plant. It's going to solidify their economy quite a lot going in the next round.
Yeah,
and they still have plenty of ultimates
off.
Yeah, it could have been better. But at least their own economy is kind of bolstered up and battered up. And they still have plenty of ultimates to work with, so I think it's fine.
Enemy remaining.
I guess.
That being yeah, so it's impressive from both these teams, right? God's Reign also keep all the guns alive. Good stuff, that's what you want on an anti-eco. Reckoning get a little bit of economy padded, so win-win.
For both the teams, I guess. Look at the positive side, huh? Flabin?
Wow.
From the shadows all the way back to her snowman. And his position's known. It's compromised. They know Flabin's in the back. But will he still have the surprise element? I guess his job is to take out the operator. And he's getting pushed up. Oh, that single pixel is all that's needed. And Autumn will find Flabin. Taken down. That's a huge lurk. Shut down. Reckoning Esports. But they still get the plant down. Now it's all down to the post plant. Let's see how much of a destruction these guys are able to cause on the site. Lockdown invested. That's going to help him out a little bit more. Deadly 10 doing his job perfectly fine. And now the rest of Godsreen will need to fall back. Voya's position, I guess it's compromised.
Right here.
But Reckoning Esports, it's a 3-on-4 scenario, pullable. But the man advantage is in the hands of Godsreen. Hunter's Fury used as well. Every single piece of ultimate's being utilized inside this round. Retake in the hand, but it seems like Autumn's gonna be more than enough. And Hoax will shut down the final man.
Yeah, the lockdown does basically nothing. All it does is buy time for Reckoning Esports. The Hunter's Fury, it was a brave attempt to keep them off the spike, but they're brave enough. Once they stick it, they hold on to it until the half defuse is done, so all the time that the lockdown wasted, it's kind of made up for. And then all they have to do is send Autumn in, get him to kill everyone. Of course, it's easier said than done, but this guy, he makes it look simple.
We saw Hunter's Fury, a lockdown being used from them. So, and also from the shadows. 3 ultimates committed for that one single round to get in the hand. Voya! What a disgusting shot! Side dreams!
Placing swarm grenade.
Oh man, that's a prime example of putting your opponent to sleep. Kitchen is being played completely off of that turret contact. It will be taken care of easily. Also baits out the nano swarm, so that's perfectly done from Flabin. On top of this tube, the position's known, but the man advantage is in the hands of Reckoning Esports. And both these teams are quite good on their eco rounds, to be honest. Whenever you're going to see them on the Sheriffs, do not underestimate. These teams have proven time and time again their eco rounds sometimes can be more valuable than their buy rounds. But Laporte manages to find one, but also gets caught with the spam. What was that?
Well, at least they bring back Master to life. With 2 guns dropped deep inside Tube, it is possible for Reckoning Esports to recover them, but I don't think they're too keen on doing it now. They've got bigger issues to solve. Very little time left. 30 seconds is not enough to clear out the site, and they're not even anywhere close to it. A little bit of Sova utility is sent towards the A site, hoping that it will draw out God's Rain rotations, but God's Rain don't budge. They know what's happening. He takes a shot to the dome. Luckily, the Sheriff is only 145, so he's spraying away. And now even Hoax is here for backup.
He connected that shot through the Viper's wall. Impressive. Voya is flanking up all the way from kitchen. Flabin finds one slipping by. Hoax shut down. Ticks all the way down to 35 HP. Autumn's the man who's got the operator in the hands. So let's see how much he's going to commit to this entire retake. He is on the B site and still is searching for some bodies, and he hasn't found any. Tix is going to try and go for the stick, but unfortunately also gets scanned by the dart. What a shot! That's a great way to close things off. And now Godsreen, it seems like they have gotten their hands slowly and steadily on the site, but Flappin will shut both of them down. 2 taps and the dirt naps.
And the postplans from Reckoning Esports just seem so versatile. They keep changing every single round. The last time when they decided to play towards green and yellow, God's Rain just sent Autumn in with his Blaze Storm and he obliterated everybody. But now with Voya being present to its kitchen and him walling off one part of the hall, it just becomes so confusing for God's Rain to try and find everybody from Reckoning. It's like they're playing a game of hide and seek, and even when one person is found, he doesn't give away his life, he just continues to buy time, and this pulls God's Rain away in so many different directions, keeps them away from the actual spike itself. Wow.
Flabin cannot help out at all. Just gonna watch his teammate die right there. That aggression was definitely quite nice. Didn't expect the man to push up all the way deep that wall. Just straight to the face with an operator. But Flabin managed to find one. Tix with a great flick onto the enemy player. Voya was able to skip all the way to the site. Manages to shut down Tix. The trades are happening back and forth. And we're down to a 3-on-3 situation. Voya, the overextension was there. Try to pull off some shenanigans on top of the wall, but it didn't really work out. And now we're down to a 3-on-2. Man advantage in the hands of Godsreen, and they've also got the entire scoreboard advantage as they're leading the charts. But Godsreen, getting this retake in the hand shouldn't be that tough, considering they have invested in lockdown.
Stealing sight. Yeah, but they don't have the ability to keep the diffuser away from the spike. Shock dart, snake bites, none of them available, so Harsh is just gonna have to keep this one. He's definitely gonna get double peeked in the process. God's Rain take control of this round, and they don't let go. The only thing that Reckoning Esports had going for them was a contact play towards the A site. The moment Master died, they knew that they can't go B. The Viper wall isn't available anymore. They could have used Flabin's smokes over there, but they didn't want to do it because they're like, you know what, we're already deep inside 410. We might as well try to plant and make contact over here, surprise them. And they did surprise him, but what are you going to do when Tix is hitting shots like it? Tix was nowhere close to having his crosshair anywhere near his enemy's head.
I'll find them.
He was caught off guard, but with his reflexes so fast. I mean, even though Reckoning played their cards right, they just got annihilated.
And now this operator's really starting to shine through. It's creating a lot of troubles. It needs to be nullified. The impact this man is having with the op, it's truly remarkable. Well, Hoax, he's going to get pushed up soon enough by these players in the front. They peek out one after the other. Their trade's going to be on the mark. Voya was able to shut down the man in the kitchen. They've got the kitchen control set up. Autumn, as always, is going to push up to the face. But this time it's going to be Hirsch who will shut him down. But the instant trade will be rewarded to Godsreen. They've got the spike control in the hands. Not a good news for the side of Reckoning Esports. They're looking to push up the limits, but they're going to be denied doing so this time. Sai is going to take the entire control back in his hands, and will force out the man in the kitchen to fall back a little bit more. Reckoning Esports, they've got more problems brewing up here. They need to get the spike control back in the hand, but this Viper's Pit is gonna start to work against them soon enough. Peek out one after the other, and once again, Voya is able to get the trades.
Yeah, he can get the spike plant now. A different wall from last time. He doesn't want it to break.
30 seconds left.
And yeah, Reckoning Esports had a very interesting approach towards Tube and taking mid control.
Last
But
player
look at this
standing.
resurrection. It goes to waste.
Your duty is
Voya now has
thrifty.
farmed up enough for a resurrection of his own. Oh, but both the ults being used
Thrifty.
in this round, Reckoning Esports pull off this Thrifty. And you
Second
can see
one.
how uncomfortable it makes God's Reign. The discomfort from the fact that they lose a Thrifty itself is something that they will have to put a mental band-aid over. But I have never seen any team take mid to beat this seriously ever before. No other team has hit the undertube area as many times as Reckoning Esports have in this game.
It's funny, Reckoning Esports is more impactful on their eco rounds. This is their second Thrifty they've managed to pull off. It's
There's nothing to
honestly
explain
impressive.
it.
Yeah, it's just really impressive. You can't even say much. These guys are just absolutely cracked, I guess, with the Sheriffs. But now, this is where the pressure will be on once again. Flabin is pushed up deep towards yellow. Has managed to gain a lot of side control in the hand. On the other hand, Godscreen, they're going to respect that, fall back a little bit more, try and take down the man on top of the containers. Connection
Ball
hasn't
coming
been
back.
found. And Reckoning Esports, they're going to start to fall back towards the B site.
Yeah, they've given enough sound cues on A, so Reckoning, they've done their homework. They keep God's Reign in a vice grip of sorts, which forces God's Reign to continue holding their default. They can't make preemptive moves. And even when God's Reign find out that Reckoning are challenging B, they can't really stop the spike. Look at this deep wall from Voya.
Spike
Takes at least
down,
kills
B.
him, but the spike is dropped in a treacherous spot now. Everything was going well for Reckoning until the spike goes out of their control, and they've had this problem so many times in the past. I guess one way of solving it is Violence.
seconds left.
Deadly 10, picking up the pace, picking up the kills as well. But he's gonna have to do a lot more damage in order to get the spike in control. Opening
that's-
challenge, push back towards the edge of orange.
That's just so unlucky. That's just so unlucky. I saw in the minimap, Flabin was marking that trail towards Snowman, saying that I'm going to flash that. You push up and get the
Last
kill.
player standing.
But now, on the side, it's an absolute bloodbath. Autumn is the last man left alive to pull something off. He's got a huge stream in front of us. Let's see if he's going to be able to pull that off or not. Deadly 10's quite low, so I guess it's still pullable in the hands. Slowly and steadily starting to make his way towards the site. Deadly 10 almost could have been spotted out, but no, he's in a safe spot for now. Gonna use the Nana Swarm. Flabin on the other hand, even he's quite low, so they do not really want to go for any type of extra risks. And Flabin will wrap all the way around and get the kill.
God's Reign gotta be scratching their heads. This round was such a roller coaster. Reckoning Esports started off in a very standard fashion, you know, instead of going for the mid hits, they went in via B green. It was a very standard approach, which we don't really see from them. But then the tomfoolery begins. They try and go deep towards Snowman, something that they've done in the past quite often, but they drop the spike, and then God's Reign feel a little relaxed. Alright, we know which area to defend, we know where they're gonna come from. Little were they aware that they are just so wrong. A little flank from Flabin is all it takes, and the duck cover that he deploys secondarily, it just gives them a second wind of life. It resurrects Reckoning Esports from the dead.
To be honest, I'd say Reckoning Esports just got purely unlucky in that scenario. I mean, I saw the minimap. Flabin was marking the trail. He said that I'm probably going to be flashing this. You push up and get the kill on the man that's close enough. And it was Tix who was positioned right there. But luckily enough for Tix, he managed to find Voya with that random spam, and Voya just got taken down. That's super unlucky. Even though Tix was completely blinded out with the paranoia. I guess he should have expected that spam. But still, I mean, who's going to expect someone to be that accurate with the spam while he's still blinded, right? It's just the stars were aligned for that round. But still, Reckoning Esports, they managed to squeeze it around away. No matter what, they still won that round, and that's what matters. They're able to pretty much nullify the lead Godstream were able to build upon them.
Last round of the half. Let's see what Reckoning have in store for us this time. You see, every time Reckoning Esports have tried to go for these deep control in post-plant situations, they've ended up losing the spike. And while their plans are solid, the only problem that Reckoning Esports have had is they lose the spike. That's all. So now they just got to avoid this one little problem that they keep on having again and again. They've kept the site in a safe spot. Voya trying to extend towards A. Makes contact, falls back. Up until now, it's normal. This is what Reckoning Esports have always done. But a minute on the clock, and now Reckoning make moves. God's Reign preemptively stacking the A site. It is the wrong call. The spike's actually headed towards B.
Yeah. Every single player stacked up towards the B site now. Towards the B main. Once again, as always, Flabin's going to push up deep towards yellow. Gets the yellow control in hand. And the rest of the players are going to get the site control soon enough as the lockdown was invested. But Sai is just waiting to use his Hunter's Fury. As soon as he hears the spike being tapped, it will be utilized. Finds attack on the first one, and the trades are now starting to happen back and forth. He did find Voya with that ultimate, but he wasn't really able to follow it up with another one. Reckoning Esports, once again, they get the grip back on the site. Master's going to go for the plant. This Viper's Pit is truly now starting to cause a lot of problems for them. And God's Reign, they've only got the one last man alive, the last glimmer of hope in the name of Wipor. Starting to crawl up slowly and steadily. The spike's not planted for him, so unfortunately, Wipor will need to pull off some incredible shenanigans to try and get this round in hand. It's a double peek, but Deadly 10 single-handedly will shut him down.
Can't you recalling my boss?
Reckoning Esports, it's quite a competitive half, but more than anything, it's quite an innovative half.
30 seconds left.
They're the only team that I've seen use the B Oranges region so much. And not just that, they also try to take snowman control many times. The only other team I've seen try to attempt snowman control on the attacking side was basically Loud, and they had a Harbor Viper composition. Reckoning tried to replicate the exact same play style without having a Harbor at all. And I would say that given the hardships that they faced, they still did a damn good job.
Oh yeah, they really did. They knew that B-Sat's quite vulnerable. They kept on hitting the B-Sat over and over again until it turned quite soft. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to push to a short break. We'll be right back on the other side.
Here for my wings, I need my eggs. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Presenting Hyundai i20 N-Line. It's time to play.
Here for my wings, I need my eggs. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, into the second half of God's Reign versus Reckoning Esports. And now the roles are going to be swapped. God's Reign will be pushed on the attacking side and Reckoning Esports on the defense. This pistol round is going to be quite a huge dictator of how the pace of the game is going to be in the future. Because so far, it's quite neck and neck.
Well, at least God's Reign aren't going to give us some very crazy rounds to deal with. God's Reign had a lot of problems trying to retake in the previous half because, let's be honest, they have to re-clear every single angle, which under normal circumstances they don't have to worry about. This time God's Reign starting off things quite slowly. They've got Autumn positioned towards A belt. He's probably going to turn into the lurker later on in the round when Reckoning try to rotate towards B. And it's not like God's Reign are trying to cut noise towards B. They're quite loud, they're using the drone, and they're making it fairly obvious that they're present in the region. But I think I got things a little mixed up. Autumn was supposed to be the lurk, but now he's still going to be the tip of the spear because God's Reign head back towards A.
Blinding.
Paranoia is ready in the hand, and it will be utilized. Flabin, he was getting pushed up, but Reckoning Esports, somehow they managed to close out both those players in the close quarters. They try to take the fights up close and personal, but Reckoning Esports, they're quite trained for those type of duels. And they're over and over again just punishing God's Reign. So many utilities just on their faces. And they've also lost out on 2 players, so there's not even a lot of manpower left over anymore. Hoax is taken down to half HP. Sai is quite low as well. All they need to do is just connect the remaining bullets. And that's what they exactly do. It. Sai was the last man, but Voya is going to be good for 4.
That barrier up turned into their own undoing. They blocked it off, hoping that they'll be able to plant the spike, but then there's so much util in the way. The toxin screen, there's mollies down on your feet, you can't really plant. And I think that wall was a little too ahead. There might have been a corner where they can plant it, but I think it was completely blocked off. And then the one little stack of barrier op that's broken, the one block that's missing, it turns into a shooting gallery for Reckoning Esports. And every person of God's Reign who tries to walk in through that region gets either right-clicked with the classic or sprayed down with a frenzy.
Ooh, that's a cool smoke. One way. Just shoot the toes, huh? Well, they're trying to make it out, but God's Reign will bore in the close. He will be shut down, put to sleep. I like the fact that Reckoning Esports, even they themselves haven't really invested a lot inside this round, considering it is an anti-eco on the opponent's side. They've got sheriffs on the board for every single player. So I would still say, considering it's just the second round and you haven't even got the spike invested, that's still a decent amount of investment done from God's Reign. Walls up.
Such a well-timed wall, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I thought they wouldn't really peek out and fight themselves. They will probably wait for God's Reign to walk inside because the crossfires from Reckoning Esports were quite solid. But no, they just sort of defy those expectations and pick up the fights in their own terms.
Yeah. This mid presence being shut down, that was huge. If Vobor is given even more opportunities to try and make that lurk activated, oh man, I can already smell the disaster coming. So they got to make sure that the mid control is not given away in the future lines for God's Reign ever again. And now they're going to have light armors and the Vandals in the hands. So this is where things now are going to start to kick off pretty well for them. But considering the opponents, they've got the Spectres in the hands. The light armor will not be able to shine through that wall compared to a heavy armor. But let's see how they're going to make it work because the Spectres are ready with the crossfire. You can see they're just waiting for them to walk in. The first man was found. The back in yellow as well will be taken down. Good opening from God's Reign. They've also got the side control easily in the hand. Easy stroll. And now Reckoning Esports just left to play the post plant.
They don't have much weaponry. They don't even have anything to clear out these angles. So this is just done and dusted. Around that God's Reign finally get in the back. The A side did look quite sketchy for God's Reign, but the B side, it looks pretty solid. You can even see the adjustments from God's Reign. It's nothing major. It's nowhere close to the adjustments that Reckoning Esports were doing on their attacking side, but the wall has been placed in quite an aggressive angle, which cuts off Snowman rather than cutting off Oranges. Still, I mean, considering what Reckoning did, this is nothing. It's quite standard, and we've come to expect this game of Icebox as a very uncommon one. So, prepare to see some bizarre stuff more.
Upgrades now there, and this is going to be the true test. The previous one was just a bonus round. Reckoning Esports trying to hope for the best, trying to pull something incredible off. Didn't really get the bonus round in the hand, so it's completely fine with them. But this is going to be the true test of Reckoning Esports on their defense. They've got the guns up, heavy armors, or heavy shields as you'd like to say, across the board. Even God's Reign, they have managed to upgrade 3 players on that heavy armor. Let's see how it's going to work out. Once again, heavy presence towards B main. Is Master going to expect that? Players are now starting to close up slowly and steadily. There are 3 players present towards the B side from Reckoning. Try to go for the plant. Will be denied with the Nano Swarm, at least for now. A slow orb utilized as well. So it's being delayed for quite a while till the rotation's coming in.
And this is actually quite nice for God's Reign. They've managed to bait out all the stopping utility from Reckoning Esports. Now when the plant actually goes down, Reckoning won't be able to really stop them. They can only probably use their guns.
But the rotation's here. Look, Reckoning Esports, that's quite good for even them as well. Every single player's now on the B site. Yeah, they do get the spike plant down, but they will now need to force an entire army of Reckoning Esports. The shock dart was perfectly there on the board. Hirsch and Flabin were able to find 1 each. And God's Reign, now they're down to a 3-man squad. Definitely don't have the man advantage, and a man like Koya is on a tear. He will find 2 for himself. Autumn is trying his best to fight back, but even he will be denied soon enough. It's all down to Hoax, a one-on-one scenario against Flappin', and what a shot! Hoax
a very risky round, a very chaotic round, but not in the sense where they're playing hide and seek with each other, but the kind of chaos which you see when all hell breaks loose, when everybody's fighting each other at the same time. It's just trade after trade after trade. And honestly, this is quite a different flavor of the round that we've seen in past, as compared to whatever we've seen in the past. Nice flicks from Hoax, and God's Reign are finally able to fight their way through. I guess that's one way to combat Reckoning Esports' bizarre playstyle, right? Just kill them, that's it. And then they can't mess with your minds.
You know what? Now Reckoning Esports is even more deadly because they've got sheriffs in the hand. Crips, it's eco round. Honestly, now they've got more chance of winning this round compared to the previous rounds. These guys have been proven in time and time again. They're way stronger. Somehow they're stronger on their economical rounds, and now they've got an economy round up with only sheriffs in hand. Let's see how they're able to glow the enemy heads up. How they're able to crack them up. Didn't get scanned. Interesting way to dodge that recon. Maybe Deadly 10 will be rewarded with a kill here, but no, it's going to be the answer. Instead, it's Tix who greets him with a bullet right to his dome. Hirsch is back in yellow. Waiting for them to start their stroll towards the site. Hirsch is going to miss all of his shots. At least Hoya was able to catch one slipping by, but still it's only one player at the risk of two. Not a good news for Reckoning Esports. Flabin being denied with that wall. Spike's going to go down. Not a lot of utilities left over for Reckoning Esports. This retake's looking really tough unless they're able to connect some inhuman shots.
Here.
At least they have the barrier on Hoya still alive. Not the best low up, but hey, I think that's fine. As long as they can get that barrier off, they can probably start defusing, but Autumn's forward positioning makes that nearly impossible to accomplish. Add to that the fact that God's Reign are actually fighting back instead of just holding angles and waiting for Reckoning Esports to come into their crosshair. It doesn't even let them get close to the spike. Reckoning Esports die in their spawns in Snowman.
Solid stuff. Eco round denied. But for Reckoning Esports, they'll get the guns back in the hands. Tactical timeout called out. And that's a good call, to be honest, because they've lost 3 rounds back to back. Definitely not a good news. All the momentum's been broken away, and this is where the coaches are now going to try to fill in the ears. They're trying to bring something new to the table. Let's see what that new stuff is going to be, because so far, as I said, Reckoning Esports, they had a good start considering they won the pistol round in the second half, but later on, God's Reign, they have been punishing them over and over again, and that B site's always the sweet spot for both the teams.
Well, sweet spot has definitely become a bit too sweet to the extent where it's probably going to start rotting your teeth out. But at least God's Reign are keeping it a little more along the lines of standard Icebox gameplay, unlike Reckoning. Yeah, but the post plans for God's Reign have been quite strong, you know? I mean, they just fight their way through. Reckoning Esports have tried several different approaches to this retake, except for maybe flanking in from green. Other than that, they've attempted everything, and every single time the outcome remains the same. God's Reign just trade each other out. It seems like a very simple solution to an extremely complex problem. But hey, sometimes as long as you have your basics under control, it's all gonna fall in your favor.
Revealing area.
I think so. Now the plan switched up, even from God's Reign. Look at the spike. It's sort of positioned closer to the A site. It's right outside A main. Maybe they've got a different plan or different strategy cooking up soon enough. They will probably try to fake their presence towards the B side, just the way they have been doing so far. And then, once they've gathered all the attention on the B side, they will start to fall back towards the A. Reckoning Esports try to capitalize and compromise on the enemy position. They try to push up and take the battles up close and personal, but it didn't really work out because God's Reign, they're just waiting for them to funnel in. And even up till now, they haven't really pushed up at all. One player gets marked, and now Reckoning Esports is able to read into what God's Reign are trying to bring to the table here. They're just staying out, waiting for Reckoning Esports to push up and make a mistake in Autumn. What was that shot?
No more so.
Autumn, he punished Flabin when he was waiting for so long. Flabin wanted to make just one move and it's denied to him. And now Deadly 10 has everything to do. A sharp shot onto the board, but it doesn't really matter. They're gonna use the Resurrect and get Sai back online, and he's got the Hunter's Fury, so even if there was any hope of a retake, it would have been denied by him. Add to that the fact that Hoax has his lockdown. Even the next round seems impossible for God's Reign to conquer. The best that Hutch can do is cause some economic damage, that's all. And he better do it now because God's Reign are starting to get quite a lot of money in their banks. They've got 4,000 bucks spare on side, 3750 on ticks. And this is going to start to snowball out of control if God's Reign aren't stopped now.
Last man up, man. Hirsch. Not going to be able to do anything. Will need to save his gun. But this entire A-main push was known. I guess that was that little change after the tactical timeout. We saw them trying to push up to A-main because the call was made, right? If they are putting a heavy presence outside B, you might as well try to take the A-main control and get some early info secured. But instead, it just bit him in the back.
That seems to be a recurring problem now. God's Reign seem to be happy. At least with this, they've secured the economic advantage. No matter what happens, even if they lose a round, God's Reign will be able to afford weapons at least once more, maybe even twice if they play their cards right. Reckoning. The last of their money available now. If they lose this, they'll be back to Sheriff territory. And yes, they've been stronger on Sheriffs. We've made those jokes before, but at this point, the stakes are a bit too high to be taking it comically. Patience from God's Reign is so funny, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of expect Reckoning to play aggressively every single round, but we haven't really seen that from it at all. I mean, even when Reckoning aggress, they're probably going to just stop right before they make contacts towards attacking spawn. You saw that from Flab and last round, and yeah, God's Reign were waiting for a similar push again, but they don't find anything. So now that a minute has passed, God's Reign are like, yeah, we can't keep waiting. Time for us to make the move. Ball to not go.
Interesting. And this patience is sort of fiddling with Reckoning Esports' mind because they're not able to gather any early info crypts. And this is a huge problem for them. All the 5 players now stacked towards the A site. Is this take going to be expected? There are 3 players primed up on A. And I guess Woya, to a certain extent, this man has some sort of a clue of what's happening in the front. Autumn's able to sneak all the way deep inside the tube, but Hirsch finds 2. A monstrous spray down and also uses the Hunter's Fury. Manages to attack Tix once, and Tix is not going to be able to get alive. Hirsch himself is down to 70 HP. Lockdown was invested from God's Reign to try and buy some more time off, but Side Dreams himself has got a Hunter's Fury available, which he will probably use as soon as he hears a tap. But he's playing quite close, so I highly doubt what sort of game plan's going on right here for God's Reign. Sai's really up close and personal. He's not going to be able to use that Hunter's Fury, and he also gets marked up by the recon dart.
Oh, it's all up to Hoax now. He's using the nanoswarms as best as he can, but he will have to pull off the impossible to make it happen. Reckoning Esports make it work. A symphony of ultimates used one after the other to make this round possible. As soon as Harsh used that Hunter's Fury to deny the plant, it was the call for Deadly to start using his own lockdown. Yes, it buys them a little bit of time, but
30 seconds left.
Reckoning Esports are able to make their way back regardless.
Last player
It
standing.
also was very brave of Tix to continue sticking the spike plant, even though he was tagged up by the Hunter's Fury once. He gave his own life for the cause. And then it all just came down to buying some time. Reckoning Esports made sure that God's Reign aren't allowed to do that.
Tactical timeout, even if they just lost the first round. And as I said, B site's the sweet spot. Whenever these guys are trying to go towards the A side, they did try to go towards the A side in the pistol round as well. It didn't work out at all. So B side so far has been proven out to be the sweet spot for both the teams on their attacking side. Reckoning Esports, they're not really able to find the cure to the attacking or to the executions of God's Reign on the B. So I guess this tactical timeout should really give them a little bit more time to try and figure stuff out on how to solidify the defense a little bit more on B.
Well, at least for now, God's Reign are showing us that they prefer going all over the map rather than just sticking to the B side. Reckoning had a clear preference. God's Reign at the very least don't have that. 3 ultimates available on Reckoning. This is quite nice. The lockdown can be very impressive. But I don't think Deadly can use it until Sai has already used up his own Hunter's Fury. There's only really one counter to it. And Deadly 10 is going to have to hold on to that X button for the time being. Weapon. Yeah, last minute cancellation. He basically uses the ultimate as a very expensive form of recon dot. Spots out a couple of players, but not enough to make preemptive rotations. Not enough to make a big decision yet. Reckoning still need more info. They're still curious.
No charges left.
And that's why you can see Flappin trying to re-aggress towards pipes. I don't think he's going to see anyone anytime soon, but at least with this God's Reigner running out of time without actually taking map control anywhere. That's the only silver lining for Reckoning here.
They've still got a minute left, so I guess they're good enough. They can use their ability sweet time, but the players are getting spotted, and Side Dream's able to find the opening. A crack in the wall's being found, and now God's Reign will try to push through that crack as forcefully as possible. They will try to brute force their way in on the site. All the players are now starting to stack up. The Sage wall is getting denied as well. But Autumn, he's a flying bird, and he will shut down Hoya. Hirsch in the back lines. He's got the recon dart available. A decent amount of utilities in the hand. Let's see what Hirsch is able to pull off. Cancels the planner. Will also get the second one down. Hirsch, that's a monstrous play. But still, the man advantage is in the hands of God's Reign.
Wow. Hirsch basically secured the win condition for his team. And he also allowed Deadly to bump lockdown. It gives them so much space, but Tix has already shot him down. Master's gonna have to stick this, and the only cover he really has is his toxin screen. He sticks it to half at the very least with the nano swarm, but now God's Reign are gonna descend upon him with the Wrath of Gods. All just fighting in his direction. Master just begging for survival, hoping to stay alive. Gets the kill onto Tix, but the round is still seemingly impossible to clutch.
Solid round. And a round that was really needed too. They finally have managed to crack up the A defense. As I said, B-side was the sweet spot, but God's Reign, they were just adamant. They were stubborn. They really wanted to get their hands on the B-side. I like the Flabbin's positioning there, but he should have reacted a little bit quicker. And that spray down from Hirsch was able to find too. That in itself was just an absolute stars aligned sort of moment. But unfortunately, Reckoning Esports just didn't have the manpower to continue the retake. And now God's Reign, they're able to run away with a lead. 11 rounds on the board for them. Reckoning Esports with only 9 in the hands. And now they are pushed up on an eco. Sheriff's on the board all across for Reckoning Esports. Let's see how much of a value these guys are going to be able to ring up on the board. Autumn's holding up quite deep. Reckoning Esports, they're now starting to get impatient. They're pushing up quite up close and personal. Crosser placements. Perfect. Takes that flick.
Jesus. Okay, this guy's on fire, dude. I thought that one flick he had from rafters towards the fridge on the defensive half was a one-off. But this guy's insane. He's hitting shots that he's never hit before. Where was this Tix throughout this tournament? We used to think of this guy as the big brain backup guy who's just always there consistently. But dude, put this guy on duelist. He's nuts. This is understandable. What is this? It's like he just threw his mouse across the desk and it still connects like a magnet.
Here.
Human aimbot. That's what I call.
We can push them back.
Exactly, dude. If Tix is hitting shots like these, there's no way Reckoning can pull off anything. Oh, and now they're playing on the front foot. Reckoning are feeling the pressure.
Yep. I mean, they're literally on the map point here, Crips.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of this play. They try to replicate what they did once again, but the last time it didn't work out. Maybe this time the outcome could have been different, but Reckoning Esports, they hold their horses quite well. They fall back. God's Reign, on the other hand, as always, they're going to check out for any sort of mid-presence or mid-lurk, and so far there is none. Vapor might just catch Master, but it gets denied. Master falls back in the nick of time, so he will be at least safe for now. Hunter's Fury being used from Side Dreams to find out anyone, but no is going to be the answer.
Yeah, and this is the Hunter's Fury that he did just blindly without using his recon or his owl drone. I wonder what's the objective. I guess he was just trying to clear out the most common positions that the defenders can hold, but then again, there's easier ways to use it. Regardless, it's going to clear up the way for Autumn to dash straight in.
Really good side control taken in the hand. Autumn's a little low. Shock Dart can definitely be a huge kryptonite for this man, but he steps away. So he will be alive for now. Woya is able to find some incredible shots, and now the man's monsters awaken. Beast is untamed, and Woya, if this man keeps him going, it's going to be tough to stop him. Master as well is able to chime in with one, and Reckoning Esports, now they look like a well-oiled machine.
Reckoning Esports keep the dream alive, and they do it by having all the guns online too. It's not just the rounds that Reckoning needed to win, but also the economy management that was important. If Reckoning didn't have any guns to work with in the next few rounds, then it would have been impossible to stand up against God's Reign, but now they've got a fighting chance. Especially with the Viper's bed available, they can kind of force God's Reign to go wherever they want.
Here.
Are we going to be seeing an overtime? 2 more rounds to go for that. And with the way Reckoning Esports were able to retake that A site. Flawless, indeed. Woya's got his hands on the resurrection, so that's a good news. Interesting roll from that man as well.
Yeah, it leaves a little block outside so Flabin can TP on top of it.
Interesting. Let's see if that's going to be utilized or not. I mean, so far it's not.
He used it, but I think he dropped down because the angle was already being knocked. I mean, it's quite an obvious wall. You understand the purpose of it right away. And that block itself was also broken, so he can't stand up there anymore. But that doesn't mean Flabin's keen on falling back. Okay, never mind. The moment I said it, he started to walk backwards. But hey, at least the Viper Spit towards B has been activated, so God's Reign have really no choice but to try and exploit either mid or go B. And so far, God's Reign haven't gone from mid to B even once. Reckoning did it like some 3 or 4 times, which is way more than anyone does in the usual half.
Wow.
Spike down
Flabin.
mid. You will not
That spam's
kill
going to be
my
perfect. Connects those bullets through the smoke. And Flabin now is still quite adamant to try and find someone. Just stubborn duels being taken from that man, but he eventually falls back. Wants to play a little bit more safe and sound. Resurrection being utilized on the fallen player, so now they're back in full force once again, but Flabin is just wrecking hell. And once again, he will shut down 2 more players. 2 more to go. On the other hand, Reckoning Esports, they've got an entire army up. 4 players up and alive, and Flabin single-handedly will also get an ace.
Flabin, the man stepping up. And the look of shock and a little bit of disgust on the faces of God's Reign tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, Sai's not too happy.
Flabin activated. Delhi ignited. This is exactly what we've been waiting for. For a moment, it seemed like God's Reign had this map in the bag, but Reckoning are now showing signs of life stronger than ever. Their vitals higher than ever, and we might just see an overtime.
That ace is definitely something that's going to reignite the fires. The flames of success is in the heart of Reckoning Esports. But this time, Master, he got a little bit too ahead of himself. Got taken care of quite easily. Flabin's going to fall back. He did have the operator in the hand, but wasn't able to find anyone. Not a good news, of course. The God's Reign, it's going to be a clean stroll on the site. Hunter's Fury used. 2 players tacked up. Good news. He's trying to soften him up as quick as possible. Woya is now going to be the man who has the operator in the hand, too. There's 2 operators on the board for Reckoning. Let's see how much of an opportunity, how much of value these guys are able to find. Woya able to strike down Autumn. That's a big man taken care of. Now it's a 4-on-4 scenario. Recon Dart available in the hands of Hirsch, and he will try to use it.
Yeah, and he switches over to the Vandal immediately to get it picked with the op. A counter wall being planned. Nah, he's just going to use it in the standard way to block off the spike and hopefully stick the defuse before spraying it down. Helter Skelter, the wall breaks. The spike is half gone, and with it, the hopes of Reckoning as well. God's Reign avoid overtime. They clutch it out in the last second.
As you said, it was way too close, man. Way too close for comfort. But in the end, God's Reign, they were able to seal the deal. We could have seen overtime. Only 1 more round was squeezed away from Reckoning Esports. Such a fantastic matchup, Crips. These 2 teams are really giving it all they've got. And so far, I'm pretty sure even in the future map of Ascent, it's going to be way closer.
Oh yeah, Ascent's gonna be closer, but I have to say this. I've casted a lot of games in my career. This was hands down the most bizarre game of Icebox I've ever seen. And you could... There is proof of the fact. The expressions of every single God's Reign player is proof of this.
Exactly. I mean, we saw a lot of those heroic plays too, and sometimes the plays that we did not expect to work out, even they were working out. So a lot of those moments that even kept us surprised. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Here for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beat, I get it in.
I know my destiny. I know my destiny.
Towards the tree, and then from the tree they would try to take the A side control. So these were those sort of micro strategies that they try to bring on the table. With that being said, welcome the YouTube audience to Valorant Challenger South Asia, where we're going to move on to the second map of the series. It's going to be the map of Ascent. Same lineup.
Have it. Yeah, same lineup, man. Chamber on Flabin, Master on the KO, double initiator for Reckoning Esports. Meanwhile, for God's Reign, nothing out of the ordinary either. So this is going to be a very fair and square game of Valorant. Very different from what we saw on Icebox. Or at least that's what the agent selection suggests. I hope I'm wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong on this one. I want to see something bizarre once again. It really kind of rattles you when you see that kind of Icebox being played out. But then once you've got a taste of it, you don't want anything else. You just cannot go back to the standard games of Icebox. You want those innovations again and again.
We haven't seen God's Reign play on this map, but this is not a map that God's Reign want to run away from. They're not trying to run away from this map. It's just not their personal favorite. But I guess when they are being faced on this map, they're not going to try to fall back, or they're not going to be weak, because we saw this map being there from MLT and this match and this team's matchup. But for now, this pistol round is quite a fiery start to the game, as we're Reckoning Esports. They are going to have a quick stroll on the side. It's a 3-on-3 scenario. And considering you have got the side control in the hand, so Reckoning Esports should definitely have a bit of the upper hand.
Oh my god, that's a fast one. Right off the bat, they just rush inside, get the plant. Hopes and ticks. Now moving in from lane 1, but they have to be aware about Flabin, who hasn't really revealed himself yet. He let Harsh die. That's the biggest bait. I hope it pays off for him.
Here.
Now going in by the stairs. At this point, it becomes slightly difficult for Flabin to make an impact, but he's already snuck in towards the first lane. Now him and Huya can play together. What looked impossible at first now is within their grasp, and they've clinched it with both hands.
Solid start to the map of Ascent. And definitely a way they really wanted to start things off. But yeah, getting back to the conversation that I was trying to have. God's Reign, they don't really run away from this map. If they are being faced by an opponent on this map, they're not going to mind facing them, because the decider map of MLT and God's Reign was Ascent. They did not even go for the Ascent ban at all. They were completely fine with facing MLT on this map. But I mean, it's a whole other thing that was a 2-0 series, but still, that proves the fact that they're not trying to run away from this map. They're not scared to face any team on this map. So let's see how they're going to try to adjust now to Reckoning Esports.
Ticks goes undetected up until now. Autumn strikes 2. Finally, Reckoning Esports showing signs of life. The real weaponry, giving them the frags they need. And they get it. Wow. What a big amount of member diving from God's Reign. They just yeeted themselves into the site, dude. Like, before the spike was even planted, the retake has already begun.
I mean, that's a prime example. When you know the opponent doesn't even have the gun, why overthink? Just straight up push in.
Yeah, push in.
Push in, cross your fingers, and hope for the best. And it did work out. Only 2 guns were taken away, completely fine. Reckoning Esports, they're not going to be hurt at all. They will continue with the bonus round in the front. And once again, this time they've got heavy presence outside A main. I guess it's going to be the similar strategy. Just run down on the A site. Hoax is in the back lines. Even he's being spotted. There are a couple of spam through the smokes. Deadly 10 be taken down only to 10 HP. Nothing will be found in Hoax. From the back lines, from Generator spot, will be able to shut down 2. And Godsreen, they're able to get the grip back inside the site.
I did.
Oh well, Godsreen finally making it work.
Yeah.
And if all of these rounds are going to be super quick like these, then I don't even know what we get to cast, because it's like 2-3 seconds and everybody's dead. Look at it, it's like walking into a meat grinder. Hoax being super sharp,
Standing.
and then Vibor
Oh, no.
swings out, everybody's present over there.
All right.
And all of this happened before Godsrain even made the rotations. The initial setup that was present from Godsrain, that was enough to hold Reckoning Esports.
Crips, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to condition the opponents. This is not going to be the
Yeah.
100%. I think so. They're trying to condition them, because in the
Amazing,
future, they will try to come up with these type of fakes where they will set Deadly 10 all by himself on some part of the map, and then maybe Godsreen will probably be baiting out the entire rotation in that spot, and the rest of the team will try to fake on the other side, or pretty much try to get the other side in the hand. So let's see how this conditioning so far is going to work out. Hirsch was able to squeeze away with a kill. Tix try to play it a little aggressive on that angle. And once again, Reckoning Esports, the conditioning, it's really starting to work out. Godsreen, they're trying to take the fight up close and personal, but so far, Reckoning Esports, they're just waiting patiently.
So when you said that they're conditioning their opponents, were you talking about Godsrain or Reckoning? Because so far, the
No, I'm
script
talking about
seems to be
Reckoning.
flipped. Oh yeah, then it makes
Reckoning.
sense. They drop the pace all of a sudden, and then Godsrain a surprise. I mean, poor Vibor, he tried to re-clear mid. He's like, yeah, this is around here. And surprise, surprise, happens in his face. Oh, and now Hoax is in trouble.
player
He has no
standing.
backup. The best that he can do is get 1 kill, and that's all she wrote for him.
Operator, in the hands of Autumn.
30 seconds left.
And let me tell you what, this A site is going to be their bread and butter for the rest of the game, because that's what they did in their previous matchup against OG. When they faced him on this map, that's what was being pulled out. And now, if Autumn's going to be opping on the mid, or at least they are going to have some sort of a mind or some sort of a read onto opponents where they're going to think Autumn's on mid, they would just send Deadly 10 all by himself, dash towards the market from B main, and try and take down the opper.
That's such an ingenious setup. I would like to see this working, actually. I would really like to see
They did
this
try to pull
coming.
it off in against OG, but luckily enough for them, the operator wasn't placed on mid. Deadly 10, he
Exactly.
cleared out the entire mid area, so it was quite easy for Reckoning Esports to get the mid area controlled and also the A side controlled from Trick. So
Yeah.
it worked out quite fluidly.
Yeah, it did work out quite well for them against Orangutan. And again, against Orangutan, Reckoning Esports went 11-13, lost out by a tiny margin. Partially because Aziz was an absolute monster on this one. Unfortunately, even though there's no Aziz in this server, Tix is feeling himself, so I hope they brought something to slay the monsters. Maybe like one of the machines that Ghostbusters wield. Anyway, I'm not into pop culture references for now. I want to see this brawl. There's an Odin in the hands of Sai. And you just have to wait for the location to be revealed. Master's well in the safe zone, so no spamming just yet.
Classic Sova on the board, huh? Odin spam is waiting.
Classic. As simple as it gets.
Yep, still hasn't fired a single shot yet. Maybe the spam's gonna come through now. No connections found. Is able to at least just cut through some opponents. But the cuts aren't too deep.
Yeah.
70 HP in the hands of Flabbin. That's the only damage or only part of damage he found there. Reckoning Esports, once again, this change in the pace is quite interesting. Voya is all the way in mid, considering he is the Sova. And now the Rapid starting to come into play.
And God's Reign are seeing multiple things. They see the drone towards a shot. It's not just the drone. Boya's committing his body to the fake. At the same time, the null command gets popped towards the B side as well as through their force. This is going to be a very difficult one for God's Reign to hold on to because the board can't use his Nano Swarm.
30 seconds left.
Clearing a path for his team. And Voya's on the lurk. Nobody will see him coming. Tix and Hoax both shot down in cold blood. And Autumn left scratching his head, wondering where it all went wrong.
Spike planted.
Godsreen. Their emotions got toyed with. Their brains got toyed with. Not able to wrap their head around on exactly what Reckoning Esports are trying to bring to the table. And I told you, man, these micro strategies are really going to be hurting Godsreen. But once they start reading these strategies, once they start getting accustomed to what Reckoning Esports are trying to bring on the table, that's when we might see a little switch up.
I mean, if Godsreen can somehow figure out what Reckoning were up to in Icebox, it should be, on paper at least, much more simpler to figure out what's going on in Ascent. Right? Right? I mean, that's what common logic would dictate, but anyone who's watching this game has definitely realized that logic is no longer present in this game. It's only magic.
Mega Minds versus the Masterminds, baby.
Exactly, baby. I mean, sometimes it's Reckoning pulling out the big magic wand. Sometimes it's Godsreen who have, I don't know, some kind of Star Wars force thingy going on for them, where they just basically read their opponent's minds. Regardless, this was a very swell round of Valorant. The null command basically made Vibor's Killjoy setup redundant. He had his nanoswarm set up to burn anyone who was trying to enter and just highway their way via lane 1. And with all that gone, they just had so much clearance. And this time again, Reckoning picking up the pace after dropping it last round. Godsreen finding it difficult to adjust. The rotations are inbound, but Hoax burns one alive. Vibor making a sheriff sing the songs of death, and oh my god, it is so magical to listen to. Finally, the trades go in the favor of Reckoning Esports, and at least they're able to find their way to the back of site, but they're already so low on health. Boya's got one foot in the grave already.
3 HP, man. Oh boy. They're quite softened up.
One enemy remaining.
Boya should not go for any peeks. He did, and Autumn. Beautiful way to close things out from the shadows available. Used on the A side. Perfectly done from Hirsch. This time it's not calculated.
Oh, never mind. He still thought they were close enough. He tried to go for a fake flush.
Spike planted.
He's got just enough time to make it towards tree and hopefully swing around. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, are you serious? He's going for a very aggro angle. The paranoia just kind of ruins it for him.
I mean, as soon as he got hit by the paranoia, the first reaction should have been just to drop down from that gen spot.
Thrifty.
Yeah, but then that would give away a sound cue and reveal his
I mean, it's
position.
completely fine. You might as well take a chance of you fighting a one-on-one battle, and unless, I mean, while you're just completely blinded out, right? Like, you might as well take the odds. Because the odds while you're blinded out and when you're going to try to take a one-on-one duel, it's next to impossible to succeed. So you might as well just give away the drop sound and maybe hope for the best in a one-on-one duel and try to isolate those.
Even if you somehow manage to isolate the 1v1's fight, that is not what's going to determine the round win or loss. The round was gone the moment Reckoning tried to hit that B side with full force.
Cover going out.
The backup from Godsreen arrived so quickly, and the disrespect of the Reckoning smokes to make that shot work, and Autumn. He sees a pixel and Master is out already. I mean, so to be fair, Master was the only man making a difference for Reckoning. All this time, Vibor's setup was redundant because of Master's suppression. And now without him, it becomes so much harder for Reckoning Esports to make a move.
Still not ready yet.
I mean, F's in the chat for Master, I guess. With the way this man's able to connect these type of shots, Autumn, he's an unstoppable force on the A site. Flabben's managed to sneak quite deep, but they've got all the 5 players available. Godsreen, not even a single scratch on them. And they're looking way good. They're completely down to go for this retake. Unless Reckoning Esports is able to bring some inhuman plays on the board to shut down the enemy team completely. Hunter's Fury utilized to shut down a lockdown, and they will be able to do so successfully enough. Lockdown taken care of. And Reckoning Esports, they've got the grasp on the site completely. Flabben and Hirsch, they've got a crossfire set up, but unfortunately Flabben gets taken care of. And now Boya's trying to close in personal. He managed to spray down one, but unfortunately doesn't get anyone in the hands.
Yeah, Godsreen basically used the waterfall of death. All of them just peek out of heaven at once. Even if the crossfire is established between Flabben and whoever is playing in hell, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do when 4 people descend upon you at once? Plus, it was Master of all people that had to die. Like, if it was Flabin who died, or if it was Deadly 10 who died, it probably wouldn't make that much of a difference. But Master's utility was
remaining.
crucial for Reckoning Esports. And without him to lead the charge, Reckoning just lost too many players simply trying to get into the site. A 3v5 right off the bat.
Get out of my way!
Godsreen. Blade Storm being popped out. Autumn. Positions compromised now. They know the operator's available on the B side, so you would not want to take the chances against that. Good updraft for him to get the info. The cherry on top of the cake. Flabin's waiting for the push up, but no one's going to be the one to push up. Still, patience game being played pretty well from both the sides. No one's pushing up way too deep, just holding their angles and hoping for the best.
Ahead.
Alright. This is something new from Reckoning. I mean, we've seen defaults from them where they try to take mid control, but this isn't really control now, is it? They just sort of use their initiator utility and have Voya sneak in there while the rest of them try to go B main. I'm assuming Voya's gonna have to come in a little late to lurk around from market. But unfortunately for Voya, that door is already closed, so
30
his
seconds
attempts
left.
to flank are probably gonna go down the drain. Unless he can get a kill towards defender spawn.
Operator's gonna
Strike
now
down,
start a
B.
strike. As the trades did happen. It's a 4-4. Side Dreams in the back lines. Doesn't really have a lot of HP to back him up, but still is trying to pistol fight back with his teammate. Recon Dart's gonna scan through, and Reckoning Esports, they get the side in the head quite easily. Last man to go in the name of Vubor. He's trying his best to do anything, but Deadly 10 with a quick tap on the teammate, or with a quick tap on the enemy to shut him down.
Well, lightning fast round from Reckoning Esports. They start off slow, and the moment they see a spot, they ignite it. They pick up the pace like nothing else. That whole mid attempt from Voya, he was destined to fail that. The setup for mid was perfect from God's Reign, but still, what does Voya do? Like a Giga Chad, walks up to its defender spawn, challenges Fix, and there you have it. All that God's Reign did to get something on mid, down the drain. And then it becomes so easy for Reckoning Esports to crunch B. Interesting angle from Harsh to stop any aggression towards A main, but then God's Reign haven't really played aggressively towards A main yet. Cautiously optimistic.
It is broken buys from God's Reign, so Reckoning Esports should realize that. They probably have, looking at the opponent's economy. On A side, there's only 2 players. On B, there's heavy presence of 3. God's Reign just making sure that their cards are being played right. Autumn's playing up quite pushed up.
Cover going out.
Position's known. Hirsch has been taken down to 66 HP, but still that's not going to be good enough. Deadly 10 somehow flicks on top of the opponent and takes care of him. And now also trying to get the heavy control in the hand situated. Deadly 10's taken down a bit too low, and Side Dream somehow manages to find 2 with the Hunter's Fury. He goes huge. And now, suddenly out of nowhere, there's a chance for God's Reign to get this round back in their hands.
Oh man, if God's Reign pull off this Thrifty, it would be heartbreaking for Reckoning. They're having so many Thrifties in this series already, by both the teams. And Sai's ultimate might just make this one work. 3v2 established. Oh, but Flabin and Master, they pick up the pace and the pieces. Aggressive approach, they double up right underneath each other. Just playing in an angle where they're both in the same line of sight, so they can't get isolated and exterminated. And that's the only way to play a man disadvantage situation where the weaponry advantage still lies with you. They play their cards right. And they bring the round back from the brink of defeat. Reckoning with quite a sizable lead this time. Is this the first time they've taken such a big lead in the series?
3 rounds lead.
It seems big enough, right? Because this whole game has been so neck to neck.
We have seen them take this type of lead in the previous map. But now what we're really here to see is that for how long they're able to sustain that lead. And as I said, that's what exactly happens. Vapor starts lining him up, and he's going to be good for 4.
Jesus. This is the one round where Reckoning Esports tried to go for a fast A hit after several rounds of conditioning their opponents to a slower playstyle. We saw this from Reckoning in the pistol and the subsequent rounds, and then Reckoning went back to the slow default-ish approach. The moment they decide to play aggressively towards A once again, God's Reign are prepared. They spring the trap. I mean, it's not just Vibor. Vibor was the one who was the tip of the spear. He was the one who was getting all the kills. But even if he couldn't, there were so many others from God's Reign just prepared to help him out over there.
The momentum now, it seems like it's sort of being broken. Alarm bar's going to be triggered in mid, and as soon as that happens, they start to fall back. Mid presence given away, maybe trying to fiddle with the enemy mines. They've got Flabbing up for success in mid. Let's see how much of that he's able to find now. Autumn still challenging that fight against Hirsch. Was really adamant to find that kill, but unfortunately isn't going to be rewarded with that. God's Reign, they're going to fall back to the B side. Switch controls taken away. Reckoning Esports, they have sort of gotten the grip on the site so far, but there's 2 players in the back lines in the boathouse. Ticks inside, and these 2 players will need to go Hughes to try and deny the entire site control. They get blinded, and somehow Reckoning Esports, they're able to get the grip back on the site. Flabbin has got the tour de force available, and is looking to strike down anyone that stands in his crosshairs.
Oh, this time Reckoning Esports don't have anyone playing towards B main. Whatever they have is towards lane 1 and inside the site. God's Reign at least don't have to worry about that at the very least. Flabbin playing one in an angle, gets dealt with, but Autumn doubles up. Oh my god, what's happening?
What? What just happened?
Then. Just mouse 1 and W, I guess. It wasn't even that much W. It's more like Reckoning Esports offering the fights to God's Reign.
Exactly. Why? They were just peeking out in their crosshairs. The first kill onto Flabbin, it's understandable. He just got pre-fired on that corner, so I'm not really going to go ahead and blame him for that. But the rest of the team just completely crumbled down like a domino effect. They just started to fall down one after the other. Look at this. Offering the fights, trying to go for the trades. The trade's not coming out successfully, and Autumn just starting to strike him down. Speak about that, and we've got a tactical timeout up. And as I said all the time, whenever there's a tactical timeout, you will see a sudden shift in the playstyle.
Okay, so I'm not sure if we'll see that sudden shift or not, but there's one interesting tidbit that I want to point out, and it's the brain game battle between Harsh and Autumn. And it's been going on since quite some time. You remember that one round where Harsh was sitting on top of the hut on attacking spawn? Basically making an angle with a little bit of elevation towards A main in case God's Reign push up A main. And at that time I mentioned that God's Reign haven't really shown any aggression towards A main yet. And in the very next round, Autumn does something interesting. He activates the Blade Storm, double up drafts over the map geometry, and uses the elevation to peer down towards despawn. At that time Harsh isn't there. And then in the previous round, because Reckoning Esports don't have anyone positioned towards B main, Harsh for a moment used his ultimate, went towards attacking spawn just to see if God's Reign are flanking or not, and then cancelled it.
Oh yeah, this strategy I told you. This strategy is coming into play once again, Crips. As I said, just send Deadly Tent towards market. That's what they've done. Early mid control taken, and now everyone's gonna start it to worse from tree. Exactly what I pointed out. They were trying to get the A side control in the hand. Deadly Tent's able to find some miraculous shot through the smoke. A side stroll is going to be there easily enough. They get the side control down, and Autumn's operator now will need to rack up some numbers.
Planted.
Holy cow, this is quite a fair opportunity for Reckoning. They haven't had this sort of a man advantage in quite a long time, and Deadly wants to push the envelope. Oh, God's Reign are paranoid about someone still being towards 3. That's why you see the flashes being popped towards that area. But as soon as they clear this area out, that's when Flabbin will make a move, and Deadly slicing and dicing through his opponent. massacre
enemy
sticks.
remaining.
The late flank from Flaben now gets the better of Hoax, who did his very best to clear out that region and still got surprised. Oh, I feel terrible for God's Way. They got played like a fiddle in this one.
This is a classic strategy in Reckoning Esports' book. And I pointed this out as well before the game even started.
Yeah. And they waited till the last round to put this strategy
Yeah.
in use.
That's what you call conditioning. Just make the opponent think that you're not going to be doing that thing because you're doing some other stuff, and then you try to pop it out of nowhere when they expect the least. Perfectly done. Nicely played. First half is going to be concluded right then and there, ladies and gentlemen, and there's going to be a short break right here, but we will be returning back to the second half soon enough.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Presenting Hyundai i20 N-Line. It's time to play.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, into the second half, and now the first half has been set quite well. The map of Ascent has been used in the best ways possible by Reckoning Esports. Now it's our turn to see how God's Reign are going to try to play with this map and how they're going to try to bring the mind games on the board on this.
I like how you pointed out the fact that Reckoning Esports were conditioning their opponents, always changing up the pace. Sometimes it's those lightning fast hits on A, sometimes it's the lurking in from B. And whenever they try to send Voya down mid, he always finds success. So, Reckoning Esports, clearly a very good half for them. Let's see if God's Reign can put up something similar.
Scanning ahead.
4 players pushing up B main. Look at this quick adjustment from them. Now they're also going to have the information that there's no one waiting around there. And Reckoning Esports, they're going to try to make their way quickly enough on the site. Flaben gets one, instantly teleports back to safety. God's Reign, now they're down on a man number, but it's completely fine. And there's also a few players that are lurking around, flanking around from Reckoning Esports. Soon enough, God's Reign are going to be choked in this site themselves, but Autumn's able to try and break free. He breaks the deadlock that he found himself in. Flaben taken care of, but this flank needs to go huge. Side Dreams is going to give all the callouts away. He's tucked into Winery, finds one, but no, it's going to be the answer. Deadly 10 denies that. Instead, he takes him down. God's Reign, they're trying their best to fight back. They're trying their best to break free, and they do.
Amazing stuff from God's Reign. They know that Reckoning are going to crunch them from A main, so playing the standard post-spawn positions where you have at least 2 or 3 people in A main and the rest of them playing Hell, that's never going to work for them. And as an adjustment, God's Reign go deeper towards Heaven, start picking up fights towards the window, and that's the only way they can avoid getting crunched by an impending backstab that's coming in from Reckoning.
I like the thought process of Reckoning Esports, what they try to do there, but it just didn't work out the way they wanted it to. They wanted to, as you said, crunch him on their own site. Just suffocate him to death. But unfortunately, that was not the case. That push from Autumn really opened up a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, just punch a hole in the airway. Oh no, this started as such a pain in the side for Reckoning. Split up on top of B hard, but it spots them aggressing out of A short. And this brings God's Reign back all the way towards attacking spawn. They were just hoping that Reckoning will not go all the way towards high mid. And simply to account for Reckoning towards in that area, they went all the way back. But yeah, it's fine now. Nice shot by Flaben. There's still quite a lot of Reckoning players on this site, so attacking this site is going to be a nightmare for God's Reign. They're walking into a trap.
Spike down A.
They're walking into a meat grinder.
Yeah, dude. And it's
They
not
just
a
got
pleasant experience.
absolutely, yeah, they just got obliterated on that site. And those quick adjustments, those quick plays, micro plays, whatever you guys want to call it, from Reckoning Esports, it just really played out so well for them. A thrifty round secured. ASTER was definitely not the way to go.
There was just one Bulldog in play. Just one. And it made a world of difference. I mean, of course, when you've got a site stack like that, even 5 classics can be quite a lot of weaponry to deal with.
Focus now. Eyes up, please. Teleport's ready.
The quick adjustments from both these teams just keep this game so fresh. I wish we get to see matches like these again. Flavin still continuing to hold the high ground, even though he was spotted out first. And he gets all the frags. Reckoning Esports, like you said, it is a meat grinder. That's what God's Reign are experiencing again and again.
Only 2 players left over. You blink it and you miss it.
Yeah.
That's the sort of scenario so far we've been facing inside this entire BO3 series.
Yeah.
The pace is going up out of nowhere, suddenly all the way to the top, and then it's dropping down way to the low. It's really hard to keep up sometimes in between the actions. Yeah, what we know for now is that both the players are quite softened up. They don't even have a lot of HP to back them up. Maybe they're just trying to delay, trying to stall us for as long as possible to maybe make sure they're taking away a couple of guns before they get taken down, but the chances of that happening are super low.
Yeah, I mean, what can Lotus do at this point? Even if he gets a kill or two,
Oh,
it's
no.
fine. He's probably gonna kill Flavin or Deadly, who've got the cheaper weaponry. Meanwhile, the Vandal's still alive. So, good recovery from Reckoning Esports. After losing the pistol to God's Reign, it's really impressive how Reckoning are able to win the second round. And this is a common stat for Reckoning all throughout their games in the VCSA. Reckoning have been able to win second rounds after losing the pistol way too often. Way too often. Like, it's criminal how they can just destabilize the economic momentum so often.
Suppressing. To suppress.
Nice exchange.
Both
to
of them.
either side. Yeah.
Yeah, both of them
So
use it at the
funny.
same time. The player getting spot up, and Tix will fall back. Respect the opponents a bit. God's Reign, they've got the mid control established, but not too deep. So far, they haven't even gotten any single information queue to play off of. Instead, they've lost out on their own player side. Definitely not a good news for them. I like the disciplined plays from Reckoning Esports. Sometimes they're pushing up aggressively, but within the discipline, within the boundaries. It's just going to add on the cherry on top of the cake. And the close is going to be Deadly 10. He was able to slip away 1, but that's all he's going to get. But it's completely fine. If you've got a man like Woya backing you up, what else do you need?
What else do you need, man? That is very appropriate. Silence.
30 seconds left.
Virtue of it is golden. And Hooks sneaking around like a rat, but what do you do? Spike is in such a difficult position to retrieve. The shot on the Flavin is impressive. But yeah, there's no way he can win this round. Unless Reckoning offer him the fight.
10 seconds left.
The silver lining is if he dies, he's gonna have his ultimate in the next round, but no weapon.
I guess this round is the prime example to describe what exactly is going on. The action just went up out of nowhere to the point where we were not even able to keep up to the action, and then now it's just completely down to pinpoint or just pin drop silence. So up and down. And most of the times these rounds are also panning out to be quite scrappy.
One enemy remaining. Spike down B.
Scrappy? I think that can describe the entire game, not just this particular map.
Even the previous game, to be honest.
Yeah.
This entire BO3 series has been looking so scrappy. Teams are trying to adapt to the fly, but sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't.
Hey, but okay, maybe the previous game, True Rippers versus Astor Army, was slightly scrappy, but at least over here you can see the clear reasoning that the teams are adapting to, right? Reckoning Esports always innovating, always bringing out something new. God's Reign doing their level best to keep up with the weirdly, bizarrely refreshing takes that Reckoning Esports have on this map. Even in Icebox, I have to admit, it was the most bizarre game of Icebox I've seen, but would I see games like that every single time, or would I just go back to seeing the standard boring old Icebox? I'm gonna choose this every single day, every single time. In fact, the amount of justice we do to this cast, I mean, sure, we can capture the details as much as we can, but it probably deserves a whole segment of its own in the post-match interview or in the analyst panel or something.
Revealing
At least Icebox definitely does.
Oh yeah. Good recon. And got scanned up. Mid presence given away to was a really good owl drone, to be honest.
Yeah.
Deadly 10 pushed up deep. B main just looking to spot out anyone. The pre-fire was there, but unfortunately the shots weren't. Whiffed out the shots. Deadly 10 being forced back a bit. He's taken down Vapor quite low. Godsreen, they don't really have the complete loadouts in their hands. They've got some Spectres, some Frenzies, and a Sheriff in the hands. Let's see how much they're able to bring up to the table. And still he's holding close quarters. Deadly 10. This man is quite stubborn. He wants to kill someone, but unfortunately he gets killed himself.
The bloodlust kind of results in his own death. Not curiosity that kills the cat, it's the ferocity. Oh yeah. With a relatively blind ult, he was just hoping that if he can tag up A main and B main respectively, maybe somebody will be revealed.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, exactly. That was more sort of like an informational ult.
Yeah.
Because they were not able to wrap their head around what exactly is going on. So far, they only spotted one player towards B main, and that ultimate was more sort of like to find out info where the players exactly are. But unfortunately for them, no one was being spotted. Woya, though, he's still a machine who's able to find 2 kills. Godsreen, they're finally able to establish some sort of dominance back. They're able to assert it back on the board.
ready.
Operator's in the hands of Flavin, and he knows there's not a lot of time left. He will just fall back. Nicely done.
What a comical way to lose the round. Running out of time of all things. They even had the KO detained, so on paper it seemed like Godsreen can make it inside, but the lack of the smoke towards the defender spawn entrance, it is such a big problem for them, and it's not the first time they've felt this problem, you know? They've lost a lot of players in the previous rounds as well.
That's
I mean,
sad.
Yeah, really sad. I mean, I don't know if that smoke not being present was on purpose or whether it has used up all of the utility previously. But yeah, that's definitely gonna pop some questions in your minds. The answers to those are not easy to find.
Good presence once again.
He still gets it.
Yeah, this man. Now they need to start realizing that they're sending Deadly 10 up in front, real up close and personal, and there needs to be a way to stop this man from doing so. If Deadly 10's been taken down, that's going to be a huge sigh of relief already. Sort of like a head start that Godsreen were probably looking for. Unfortunately for them, not a lot of ultimates left in their hands. Wabor, even he doesn't have the lockdown available. Side Dreams, all he needs is one more orb in the hands. Maybe he will get the Hunter's Fury secured up, but Deadly 10! He goes huge! Good for 3 on the B site, and even Hoax gets shut down. Tix, the last man, up and alive.
Reset required.
And this time, Godsreen even placed all the smokes properly.
One
Last
enemy
time,
remaining.
Woya
30
made things
seconds
very
left.
difficult for them by shooting them down via attacking spawn. I'm sorry, no, not attacking, the defending spawn. But this time, even after doing all the utility placement properly, Deadly 10 just turns out to be a massive Giga Chat. Quad kill for him to secure the map point for his team. Reckoning Esports might just take us to map number 3.
Matt's proven out to be quite deadly, man.
Sticking true to his name.
You really gotta stick true to your name. But this play right here, even though they knew his positioning, they still weren't able to shut him down. It's just the way he's able to dodge those bullets, just like Neo from Matrix.
Hey, at least Neo had plot armor.
Get out of
This
my
guy,
way.
he's just stubborn, that's it.
Damn, I didn't know that. But Hunter's Fury used. Side Dreams, he did find a tag on the B side. They really are desperate to take the B side in the hand, but Woya and Deadly 10, these two guys, It's indeed a deadly combo. They're not going to let anyone trespass on the B site, and now Deadly 10, he gets a little bit overheated. And Flappin', what was that
Spike
flick?
down B.
Tix being sent back to his childhood with that slap.
Take flight.
Side Dreams with only 25 HP in hand. Oh, it's really tough.
Oh, Sai doesn't even get a break, man. How will he recover the spike? He's got time, but barely any HP to work with. And even if he gets into the side, Reckoning Esports are going to take their sweet time and double peek. He peeks once again. Unfortunately, Flabbin was prepared this time. We're
That was
going to
such
Lotus.
a quick map. Such a quick map. And as always, you know, if Reckoning Esports is going to win, Flabbin's going to dance. And he's just dancing on top of their graves.
Pardon me.
Nicely done.
Pardon me if my dance vocabulary is wrong, but what he just pulled off, isn't that what you call a thumka in Hindi?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't.
I'm an innocent kid. I don't know. I only
That is-
watch kids
that is-
shows.
That is so far from the truth, and you know it. But hey, this match, that was a show meant for the entire family. You can show this to your kids and tell them, look kids, if you want to play Valorant in an innovative way, this is how
Especially
you do
on
it.
Ascent. Especially on Ascent. You gotta mention that.
Exactly.
Ascent is one of the most oldest maps, and we have seen, I personally feel like we've seen a lot of strategies already, but the way this team played it was just another level. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the breeze, I get it in.
I know my destiny.
YouTube audience once again to the third map of the series. That's going to be Lotus. As we do move on forward towards the agent select, we do see an Harbor Wiper composition. What do we call this? Hyper? I think so we should name it Hyper.
Please don't try to abbreviate it. Please don't try to abbreviate it. See, this is the core composition of Loud, which they do in maps like Lotus and Icebox. And now that Reckoning Esports have adapted to it, I think their game plan is set in stone. They just want to deny as much visual control to their opponents and get up in their faces, get aggressive map control, and hold on to it for as long as possible. Meanwhile, on God's Reign, they have a fairly execute-heavy setup, right? You see the Breach and the Sky together, it kind of tells you that they want to just flash you out of existence. And the fact that there's a Killjoy on either side makes the defensive half seem that much more exciting, because it's gonna be up to these teams to destroy the Killjoy utility as quickly as possible before they actually commit to the site, so that they don't have to deal with it later on.
Here.
God's Reign. Here we go. Starting off on defense, they will be facing a lot of hardships. It's an attacking-sided map, so you gotta expect a strong start from Reckoning. A strong lead as well. If there's not going to be a strong lead, then for God's Reign, it should be quite easy to capitalize. Presence was found with the guiding light. But how are they going to try to adapt to that presence? That's what we're here to find out. Aim and presence showcased quite well. The doors are going to be activated as well as they make their presence known towards trees. And everyone's just going to bum rush it down to it on the A site.
Poor before had no chance.
Spike
He even
planted.
got a little smoke as help from Tix, but he got instantly triple peaked, and now Warrior's feeling himself. He's not even taking too much damage. He might just be on for the ace over here, and he's already trying to backstab them.
Remaining.
Flicks onto Tix. There's no way Sai can survive this one. A masterpiece to kick things off.
Yeah. Masterpiece indeed. Fantastic way to kick things off so far on the attacking side, and Boya is already starting off with the ace. We already know, if Reckoning Esports are winning this matchup, Boya is going to be the MVP. 100%. With the amount of consistency this man has showed, not just on the first map, even on the second and the third map, it's remarkable.
I feel so bad for Vibhor over here. Tix really tried to help him out. He did. He put up a smoke towards tree, hoping to just delay the push from Reckoning as much as possible, but they just disrespected it. And now Autumn is in a similar position. He's got way too much heat on him. There's no way he can survive this one. And any backup that would have been possible to provide by God's Reign, who were just trying to peek out of a main, it's now stopped because of the cascade. And Reckoning Esports continues to bolster the way inside.
Player standing.
Spectres, Vandals, everything being thrown at them.
Yeah. Tix, the only man left over, with just a shorty in the hand. He will try to get up close and personal, close up the distance. That's the only time shorty will shine through, but let's see how he's going to be able to do that. Or maybe he'll just wait for them to try and push up to his face. But yeah, quite a clean side take. Wasn't really that tough for them. Did have the upgraded weapons in the hand, and all of them are up and alive, so that means this is already a good setup for the bonus round. Let's see if Tix is going to be able to catch one here, but no is going to be the answer. That's just shorty betraying you. Sometimes in that range, it works out perfectly for the opponent.
Yeah, even I
you,
thought...
it just doesn't.
Exactly. You saw the ding, and I thought, yeah, that's it. You should get at least one kill with the shorty, but... What, 62 HP available on the other guy?
Yeah.
62? That's way too much. I thought,
Dude.
even if you survive, I thought it would be like with some 10, 20 HP, but that's just way too much.
Dude, like, trust me. When I use the shorty in that range, it never connects. And when it's my opponent, it always hits me hard on the face. I just don't know. And I'm pretty sure Binks, who's doing the watch party, will agree with this.
Wait, does he have a reputation of not connecting the shorty or something?
No, I mean, it's just a thing that every Valorant player will agree with, you know?
Yeah.
I think so.
The shotguns are always deadlier when they're in your opponent's hands. The grass is always greener on the other side. But luckily for Reckoning Esports, there is not too much grass, but there's plenty of water. They've sent the high tide towards B, they've shown presence towards A, and now they're sending the cascade and guiding light towards C. So God's Reign are all over the map. They see Reckoning everywhere, and they're trying to make preemptive rotations towards the A side, which is the wrong call. I mean, in the process, they leave B kind of vacant, and they're just using the guiding light to figure out if Reckoning are even there. But God's Reign have expended so much utility trying to figure out where Reckoning are, and Reckoning are being chilling. They're just sitting on spawn. They've got nothing to worry about. Seeker's invested now, and if 2 of them go towards C, they're gonna hit C with all their force. But the Spike's heading towards A, so they're just toying around with God's
30
Reign,
seconds
playing with
left.
their emotions. And now look at this setup. Tix is in no way, shape, or form to hold this on his own. He can't even get backup from his fellow Breach because the smoke blocks the line of sight, and he's isolated. At least it takes 1 frag before he finally bites the dust. But this side is well in the grasp of Reckoning.
Indeed is.
Spike planted.
Spike goes down at the nick of time. This is the Harbor Viper composition at its true potential. Nicely done. They're always able to get the grasp on the side so well. Now just going to try to play off of the post plants. They've got 2 players stacked up towards 3. The rest of the players are going to try to surprise them. And as I said, that's what exactly happens. Flabin, a good spray down on those 2 players.
Jeez, like, what are these post plans? They don't even take 3. They just stick towards stairs. That was an impressive spray down, but in case that did not work, there was a backstab in the works from Voya. Luckily, they didn't have to cash in that insurance policy, but in case something went wrong, Voya was present for the backstab. Flabin just made it look like a piece of cake. And God's Reign simply not able to find liftoff. Hoax, Autumn, Vibor, all of them sitting on 0 frags each.
Wave crash.
Oh. Flash reveals the position.
Here.
Flabin will spot out the players trying to jump spot. No connections though. It's just so intimidating to just push that guy who's trying to jump spot you and just kill him.
Lock in sight.
But Flabin will need to play within the boundaries of his team. Trying to trailblaze through, trying to scout out the areas around. It does seem like they sort of do want to fake their presence or maybe take the B-side control in the hands too, but so far, nothing's established yet because the Spike's still back all the way in the spawn.
Yeah, maybe Autumn can find a surprise kill. No, never mind, his position's given away. Reckoning have so much information. They saw the guiding light, they know where the sky is, they know where the jet is, and now Sai, he's surprised because he did not expect to see Flabin this deep inside. Oh, and he's going all the way to its C's waterfall. There's no stopping them, man. Vibor gets 1 shot onto Deadly, but at what cost? Reckoning have 2 sites under their control. They don't even need that much, man. They don't even need all this map control, and they still have it.
Reckoning Esports. Master right there. And it's just these last 2 players. They know getting any sort of kills is going to be really tough. They just want to catch a lurker off guard and maybe try and take a gun away if possible. And Voya will probably be able to slip away a kill right here. He does, and he gets both of them. Really good.
Heartbreaking, dude. And I don't know. I kind of feel bad for Sai Voya because he's using the guiding light and doesn't reveal much. He goes for a jump spot, doesn't see anyone.
Enemy kill.
And the next thing you know, Flabin's in his face. Like, within that tiny gap between the 2 jump peaks, Flabin covered the distance and Sai had no way to fight back. And he thought that maybe even Hoax would be kind of helping him out because he was hanging out towards the B-Link region, also spotting every now and then. Within the gaps, Flabin finds the opening. This time, Flabin leaning to charge towards C. The cascade helps them get the orb.
Scout destroyed.
Master's 1 point away from the Reckoning. I think they'll probably try to grab the orb towards B as well. And get that ultimate on board. Yeah, they're going
Solid
for it.
stuff.
Time to hunt.
Quite a quiet start, huh? All the time we're having these slow starts at the start.
Ready.
And then later on, it's just a quick burst on the site.
Yeah.
There's a Reckoning available in the hands of the Harbor, which is Master. Voya able to sneak in a little bit slowly and steadily. The Nano Swarm still hasn't been activated. Quite patient on that. I like the fact that he didn't waste it just yet. And now Reckoning Esports, they're probably going to dash in inside the site. Gravity Well's there to try and waste a little bit more time, but they will need to fall back because the Reckoning's going to be quite annoying on their feet.
I mean, at least they're not going to get shot down because of Reckoning.
Here.
Reckoning don't push their own high
Spike
tide.
down C.
They
30
don't,
seconds
right?
left.
Right? Flavin's flirting with the idea of fighting aggressively.
Yeah.
And now all these snake bites are keeping them at bay. He's challenging the goddamn people in all. And there's a triple peek. Boya also not afraid of fighting at all. And this might just backfire for them. The spike didn't go down. And now Reckoning have no
10
backup
seconds
plan.
left.
Yeah, not a huge fan of
Player
that situation, especially when you haven't even got the spike plant down. Flavin shouldn't have went for the challenge like that. Maybe should have just tried to hold down the close quarters. And for God's reign, that's the exact opportunity they were looking for, and they get that in the head. Finally, a momentum breaker where God's reign able to find some sort of success on this map, and this was really needed too.
Here.
Yeah, desperately needed. I mean, to be fair, I kind of feel like Reckoning are the ones who... It kind of feels like Reckoning are the ones who squandered away this round rather than God's reign doing something to actually take it for themselves. One way to counter this playstyle from Reckoning is to just push aggressively, and God's reign are doing that. They are playing hyper proactively towards a main, but it just doesn't help their cause. And Reckoning are more than comfortable just using their time, showing presence all across the map, making God's reign scratch their heads again and again. And then when they find the sizable amount of advantage, they just pounce into the site all at once. Like, look at this again. They've used the high tide towards A. It's gone now, but they used it like 10 seconds ago. And then they're showing presence towards B. You have Boya firing towards B upper. At the same time, you've got Deadly 10 on the mouth of C. So, God's reign have an overload of information. Most of the time, the defensive sides lose because they don't have information. Now, God's reign have way too much info, and they can't make sense of it. They probably need like an AI system to sift through all this data. At least Tix finds the kill onto Deadly. That's the lurk towards C gone. Should make things slightly easier, but this crossfire on the A side between God's reign, it's not the strongest, but it's still going to be very, very effective. Side with a double spray down. And now he's got backup of Autumn too. Flavin trying to keep the hopes alive, but Vibora will snuff it out.
God's reign, flawless hold on the site. Resistance, the name of the game, and Side just goes absolutely huge with that 3K. To be honest, the only reason why the resistance was possible is because the heroics of Sai. If he wasn't able to get the 3K right here, the Sai would have been taken in the hands easily.
Last player standing.
But Sai just goes absolutely massive, denies that entire site control away. And this time, the A side take doesn't work out for Reckoning Esports. 2 rounds back-to-back slipped away from their hands. The lead is now starting to get nullified.
Yeah, whatever momentum that Reckoning Esports had at the start is starting to slip away. They've got just enough money to buy one more time in case God's reign win this one. Autumn, dangerous game. Trying to peek ahead of the cascade with Yop, but he's just not going to be given the opportunity. And this time the Reckoning Esports changed things up. Usually they're taking a sweet time to push in, but now they're pushing it with more than a minute left on the clock. The flash was perfect. Unfortunately, Flavin loses the duel. And the one time that Reckoning Esports try to amp up the pace, it gets shut down. They go back to their default. They go back to sniffing around. And then there's a dog to literally sniff out what they're up to.
Yeah. Operator in the hands of Autumn. Definitely a gun you need to watch out from. And maybe try to avoid it as well. He's all the way on the opposite side, so that's a good read from Reckoning. They should have a clean stroll. But there's quite a lot of players close enough. Seekers out. That should give the positions away. Size getting spotted out by the Seekers. Everyone being forced back. And once again, the spike plant goes down. This plant is towards tree. Reckoning Esports. The post plants do seem quite clear enough. 2 players already backing off towards tree. The rest 2, as always, will back off towards main.
Master, you know he wants it. It's calling up to him. It's beckoning to him. The aggression just doesn't seem to stop. Reckoning Esports have the man disadvantage, and as a result, they have to force these fights. They have to neutralize the advantage somehow, but so far it's backfired for them. The Cosmic Divide, it's so weird because God's reign have to peek ahead of it, and they still managed to win all these duels.
Wow.
What a
God's
cleanup.
reign. Yeah, what a flawless take on the site. Perfectly done. Nicely calculated. And God's Reen, that retake was just beauty. It's really tough to find any sort of mistakes in that retake, especially that flash peek towards the tree. Managed to pretty much nullify that crossfire and also isolated those duels. Look at this. Deadly 10 was just flashed out, couldn't do anything.
And usually that Cosmic Divide is put up to make sure that the attackers who are hiding inside tree can't really shoot at the spike directly. They have to peek out of it. But what do God's Reign do? They peek ahead of their own Cosmic Divide, you know? That's not something that Reckoning would have expected. And that's the only way to beat Reckoning Esports. Surprise them at their own game. Push out of your own utility. It's not an orthodox strategy at all. It is not standard. And that's what makes it beautiful. On paper, it sounds like a dumb move, but it works out so beautifully in practice.
Timeout from Reckoning. Let's see what they're going to try to pull off on the board. I mean, 3 rounds have been slipped away back-to-back in the hand, so this tactical timeout is really needed for them to gather their thoughts because they don't probably know exactly what's going on wrong with them. They've got a Blade Storm available on the Flabin. I highly doubt they're going to try to utilize that. They still have a couple of more ultimate orbs left to get the rest of the ultimates up. Need 2 more for the lockdown.
Alright then, Autumn finally has a fair duel with the AWP. This time the Cascade also won't do much to block his wish in, and he's got it. He's been waiting a long time to make this AWP sing. His hands had been itching and now he can finally get that scratch. It's a very satisfying one. Orb collected by Reckoning Esports though, so they're inching closer to their ultimates. Harsh just needs 1 more point to get the Viper's Pit.
Grounded.
This AWP is just too deadly, dude. There's no way Reckoning can find a counter to this. All the Harbor Util in the world is not enough to stop it. Harsh, meanwhile, trying to sneak in towards A. He might just be able to find the gaps. He snuck past Sai. Oh, he's found the needle. He threads it.
No, but they know, I think so. They know it. Look, Tix is checking for it. They're sort of aware of the fact that someone might just be able to sneak in, and yeah, Tix finds it. God's Reen. Perfectly done. Able to sniff out the lurks. Able to shut him down quite easily. That operator, that single-handed opening has changed the entire course of the game, or course of the round.
30 seconds
And Boya
left.
and his teammate Deadly 10 are the last 2 players left over just to save it out. These 2 guns are going to be quite crucial in the upcoming round because so far Reckoning Esports, they're on a losing streak, and considering this is an attacking sided map, it's not a good news.
Oh yeah, I mean, even 4 rounds for God's Reign is quite impressive.
10 seconds left.
Keep in mind that last time Reckoning Esports, they faced against Metal on Lotus, and they were able to get an 8-4 lead. God's Reign are already doing much better than that. And they've got so much money built up. Look at the money. Look at Autumn. He's got
Here.
8,500 credits.
Careful here.
The board Hawks, all of them north of 7,000.
Man's richest in the room.
He can keep his riches if God's Reign keep playing like this.
Oh, Harsh should have looked at his back. He should have. He really should have.
Yeah. I
Careful
mean, on the
here.
X-ray, it seemed like he just slipped past Sai, but
Get
I
out
guess
of
it
my
showed up
way.
in the mini-app for a split second or something. And then Tix had to go ahead and check it. Rightfully done.
I know what exactly was going on there. They were playing the beast out on the retake, so they thought that there's a high chance that someone might have probably snuck past from B. So he was looking at the B entrance. But instead doing so, he found someone sneaking by from mid.
Yeah, I mean, the intention was the same. It's just that it's a coincidence.
The pathways were different.
The pathways were different. Intention was the same, and the bullet that connected the back of Harsh's head, it was just disastrous. He thought he found the timing. Just quite a slow round from Reckoning Esports. It's very brave of him to just walk out like that and toss that poison cloud towards stairs. It's so risky. The AWP could have been present over there. Oh, and God's Reign is so aware. As soon as Reckoning tried to budge their way into the C site, the lockdown is placed. Yeah, Flabin can do
Fake.
all the scouting around, but he's gonna have to fall back.
30
He's
seconds
probably gonna
left.
get detained.
Oh, the tension's going to be there. And unfortunately for Reckoning Esports, they've already given heavy presence away towards the C site, and now the adjustments are there from Gotsreen. Side Dreams in close quarters with just a classic in the hand. He's trying to pull something miraculous off. No is going to be the answer. He
10
did find
seconds
one,
left.
but that's all he's going to get. Autumn was able to squeeze away one kill. Close quarter. Shorty, this might just start to ring some dead bodies. Only 8 HP left in the hand. This is quite a mission impossible for Reckoning Esports to pull off, but the players are quite softened up. Autumn in the close quarters with only 8 HP left over. That spam's gonna seal the deal. Flabin takes him down. Hoax and Tix now starting to march on over towards the C site. A lot of time is already being bought by Reckoning Esports, but something needs to be done ASAP from Godsreen. That spam's gonna find Master, and so far it's working out like charms for them. Flabin is only down to 31 HP, and he's gonna have no line of sight on the players going for the defuse. A perfect flash, and Flabin nullified.
God's Reign, a 5-round streak to nullify Reckoning's lead. And they've done so well in this one. The lockdown placed preemptively simply on the basis of sound cues. Flabin went deep into the site, was forced to vacate it. And when Reckoning Esports tried to retake this site, when they tried to attack it again, there was so much resistance from God's Reign. Yes, it's quite awkward to see Autumn get caught out like that because he didn't have the right set of weaponry. His Blaze Storm kind of ran out. I mean, the AWP also not that effective at close range, so he's just trying to do whatever he could with the shorty. But then the retake from Hoax, incredible. Flabin now making way too much noise on B. This time you can see the desperation on Reckoning Esports. They don't usually venture this deep into its B so early in the round, but it's different now. And again, they've left people all over the map, right? Harsh outside of A main, you've got Flabin on B, he just reunited with Harsh, and now they're heading to its C.
You should run.
Again, where Sai is prepared. In case things go wrong, there's even the Rolling Thunder available on Hoax.
I've got your trail.
Good find. The attacking lockdown's definitely now starting to create a lot of space. Seekers are out as well. Reckoning's invested too. Reckoning Esports, some heavy investment done just to get the site control in the hand, but the pathways are completely different. They're trying to pull something miraculous off here, something new, but that's going to be denied completely. The waterfall controls now taken back in the hands of Gotsreen, and Hoax single-handedly is an uncrackable wall.
You've seen
Why
Reckoning.
did they do that?
No. So you've seen Reckoning do this before, remember? When they were playing against Metal, what they would do is plant the spike to its C and then rush in towards Waterfall, hoping to cut off the retake before it even begins. But yeah, exactly. That's the problem. They didn't get to plant this time.
I mean,
God's Reign crunched them way too fast.
No, I think so. The game plan here was to take the C-side control, go from Waterfalls to B. That's what the game plan was. Because for them to plant, they invested 2 ultimate abilities, a lockdown and reckoning. They already have the side control in the hand. But I think so. The game plan was that.
Did they invest the Seekers too? I think that also happened, right?
Yeah.
Both the Seekers were used from Voya and Sai. And Sai wasn't planning to use his originally. He just had to do it when Reckoning started to make that Waterfall move. And then God's Reign had to figure out what on earth is going on. So yeah, quite a chaotic round. I mean, the series has been quite chaotic, to be fair. I wasn't expecting this.
Really good stuff from Godsreen. They're able to establish a lead all the way on the defending side, and Vipor finds one through the spam. Not a good news for Reckoning Esports. The stars are not aligned at all. Whatever they're doing is just not working out. Maybe what they're doing is just not the way you're supposed to play it. Godsreen, on the other hand, though, the amount of info they're able to gather with every single move they're trying to bring to the table, it's impressive. 3 more sheriffs left in the hands of Reckoning Esports to pull off anything. It sounds quite next to impossible. The utility utilization is just perfect from Godsreen. But on the other hand, Reckoning Esports out of nowhere, they're looking to flip the switch, and Woya, another cool shot! Right onto the dome of the opponent. Site controls taken from Godsreen, but these sheriffs are now really starting to hurt.
So Hoax decides he's had enough of this nonsense. Reckoning Esports scurried their way into the seaside, and then they just tried to buy time by putting up the cascades and the high tide. And when God's Reign is starting to run out of time, Hoax is like, screw it. I've been holding on to this this Rolling Thunder since the last 2 rounds. Might as well use it now. He lets it loose. And then God's Rain brute force their way inside. The flashes as well, really nice. I'm actually surprised that Voya and Master actually managed to survive the Rolling Thunder and even get towards the outer side of C. I thought they would have been dead to rights over there. But this is God's Rain's 7th round win in a row. And this is looking scary, man. With Autumn picking up opening frags like these, Reckoning Esports might just be caught napping on their own map pick. I mean, not their own map pick, but yeah, it's Reckoning who's been on this map before. This is God's Rain debut appearance, but look at Deadly. He's snuck past. He went to sign napping. And now he's all the way towards C. He can clear the path for his team. There's only one man who can stop this, and that's going to be Vibhor. As long as he can get the spike carrier, it's all Gucci. But there's no way he can get anything.
They realized that the KJ setup is not on the C site, and he somehow found that lurk successfully. And now look, they're also going to take the backside control in the hands. Autumn's got the operator available, but he's soon up. Autumn was able to sneak past it, but it's not going to matter. Hoax and Autumn both being shut down, put to sleep. And now it's a 2-on-4 scenario. God's Rain, with the amount of momentum they've been able to showcase so far, it does seem possible. But now Vibhor being shut down as well. It's next to impossible. Vibhor really wanted to invest that lockdown, considering it is the last round of the first half, but he didn't have a chance to do so. Last man to go in the name of Tix, and he will be buried in the coffin as well.
7-5. At least Reckoning Esports have a little breathing room in the second half. But that being said, Deadly's... I can't even call it a lurk inside. He was just creeping in. It was a straightforward pathway, but it just so happened that Sai tried to use his utility to find if anyone's over there, and it just went right past Deadly.
I mean, the first half, to be honest, quite a chaotic one. Let's see how the things are going to be looking like on the second half, and we'll be right back after a short break.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Presenting Hyundai i20 N-Line. It's time to play.
Can't feel my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half. The first half ended on 7-5 note, and now God's Rain will be pushed on the attacking side. So currently the momentum also should be there in their hands, but let's see what Reckoning Esports are going to try to bring new to the table to stop that momentum.
You see what that teddy bear is doing over there? Chilling? That's what Reckoning were doing in the first 5 rounds of that first half. They were chilling on attacking spawns for quite some time and taking their sweet time to actually hit a site. But then God's Rain turned around the page by winning 7 rounds in a row. And now they're in the lead. Quite a straightforward approach from God's Rain. They're not spreading out like Reckoning did. They're just hard clearing every angle towards B. But this Viper wall that's put up by Reckoning, it's quite innovative. It blocks off A stairs, it blocks off the B main as well. So this is quite nice. It boils down a lot of time that God's Rain are losing. So they're gonna have to make their executes happen when the Viper runs out of Toxin. That can be quite an narrow window.
Good healing. Autumn being patched back up to full HP. And heavy presence towards the B site. Good flash to get the presence known. Deadly 10 sort of trapped in the corner right there. Autumn was able to shut him down. Boya pushes the limits. Pushes the smoke, gets the planter down. At least for now is able to buy a little bit more time for that rotation to come in. Flab and try to pull something off with the rotating doors, but he was not really able to do so successfully. Her still in the back lines trying to do something, and he does find one with the snake bite. That's a big one too. The spike planter over and over again is being nullified, and now it's down to a 2-on-1.
Whoa!
This is just incredible. Hirsch, with those picks, was able to shut him down completely.
And that's what happens when you try to push the B side without clearing out any other areas of the map. All the 4 entrances being heavily exploited by Reckoning Esports. They just disrespect the smokes, man. Voya pushing out gets one. Then you've got all of them just trying to kill the planter, sometimes with the pistol, sometimes with the snake bite. And then Harsh with the heroics just stomped on them, man.
Planted. One enemy remaining.
Look at this. I mean, he's got a frenzy against him. He still wins with the classic against Bolt. Absurd.
Behind me.
Eco on the table. Reckoning Esports, that's huge for them. Considering they were able to at least sort of get that round in their hands. So that's quite massive. That's going to reignite the flame of success once again in their hearts. It's not like the matchup was gone beforehand, but considering if a team has an overall good start on the defense on this map, there's a high chance that team should probably come out on top in the second half as well. But now considering Reckoning Esports, they got the piston round, there's a chance they would find to equalize the scoreline.
Oh, Harsh, look at this cheeky angle. Voya's ready for this one. He still continues to peek out, continues to demolish them.
Toxins going up.
Holy hell, what was that?
Player standing.
I've never seen a Ghost be this effective against a triple peek. You see mowdowns like these with, you know, weapons like Ares and Odin, not with a Ghost. He just taps head so cleanly.
Clean wrap up though. But yeah, definitely Voya is quite crisp today, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He's been feeling himself throughout this entire series. He's not missing a lot of shots, which is sort of giving a huge upper hand to his team inside those duels as well. 7-7 being the score. It's being tied up, Crips.
Godsrain did nothing wrong, man. They triple peeked him. Voya shouldn't have been able to do all this. It's not like they went in one by one. They all triple peeked him. Get this man. I don't know, man. The word that comes to my mind is Hikasha. That's it. Like, there's no logic in explain this. But look at Flabin. Already pushing out of A main. He can punch God's Rain from back already. They're all hitting the B side. Flabin's in position. Oh no, Voya's found. But in the process of doing so, he sets up the perfect bait for Flabin. Triple once again. And now Deadly chimes in as well. It's all down to Sai. And within a matter of second, it crumbles right before his eyes.
Oh my god, if they're able to pull off this bonus round, it's gonna be insane. The amount of economy this team will have stacked up. It indeed is gonna be quite noticeable and remarkable. 3-on-1 scenario. Dreams trying to pull off some shenanigans, trying to pull off some big brain moves. Let's see if he's going to be able to do so successfully or not. He spawned the first map once again. Trigger discipline. Please knife. No.
Yeah.
It's not going to be there.
30
Denied.
seconds left.
Not too greedy for that.
Yeah, I got a little ahead of myself. But hey, this gives him so much room to plant and take post-plant positions. Problem is, he doesn't know where they're coming from. He's got one guiding light which just got charged up again, so he can probably use it to figure out if there's any backstabber or not. But no, he's just playing a standard triangle. Nothing fancy. And Reckoning are gonna take their sweet time. They know that he could be anywhere. Manually checking every angle. Flabin staying upstairs to cover Harsh. Sound cues given away. One going towards left, but that's exactly when Flabin peeks from the right. And Sai gets played like a fiddle.
Nicely done, man. Reckoning Esports.
Voya
They get the bonus round in the hands.
Yeah. Voya died to set up Flabin for success like that.
Yeah.
That's the best bait I've seen so far.
That is just a monstrous play. This man ate him alive. Single-handedly in the back. And then Dreams, I mean, he tried to pull off something new on the board. Valiant effort for that, but what are we seeing? On the attacking side, the attackers are not able to dominate, and instead it's the defenders who are able to dominate.
That's just Lotus for you. Like I said, there's not much logic left in this game. It's only magic now.
To be
that's a false
honest-
statement. That's a false statement. There's a lot of logic at play. Both these teams are big braining each other very often. I just said
To be
that
honest-
to sound cool.
Now we're seeing a tactical timeout being pulled up. And to be honest, with the amount of respect these teams have been given to each other, I think so. It is sort of paying out to be as a kryptonite for them. And I think so. The only way to try and take a side quickly in the hand is just stop respecting so much. I think so. Just try and run it down to one side to break the opponent's momentum. And then later on, you can just try to pull something similar off, or maybe just try and keep on updating those micro strategies. It's up to them. I can't really tell them what exactly to do, but they need to start figuring this stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, at least in Ascent, we saw variations in pace. I mean, we haven't seen that so far on Lotus. We've seen these teams try to spread out quite a lot on their attacking sides every single time, but we haven't seen like a full-blown fast rush right off the bat. Alright then, Flavin. Interesting kill onto the door. I think he got him through the smoke.
Scout destroyed.
Yeah. Just Sheriff's on the hand now. It's an eco round. Side Dreams is the only one who's got a Spectre, but I highly doubt he's going to be able to pull off anything. That's a good pick from Hirsch. Just icing on top of the cake. And he's going to deny that entire C entry. Godsreen aren't going to be even scared to look at it once again. Tix was there to try and make something more happen, but Godsreen, they're now slowly and steadily starting to fall back towards the C side, but the guns are trained. The weapons are armed up. They're primed up, and both of them are looking at the same direction. As soon as a little peek is taken, they will be greeted with that fire.
I'm surprised Tix survives that encounter. Lives to fight another day, but there's barely any time left. And even if they go towards the B side, the high tide will keep them outside B. Guiding light's perfect. At least gets them the frag onto Voya, but the round is far from over.
Yeah.
They haven't even planted, and there's barely anything that they can do to cover these areas. One smoke towards B upper, it's not enough. They just rush them down from the link.
Nicely done. It was an eco round for the opponent, so as expected, Reckoning Esports didn't get the round in the hand, but now the upcoming round is going to be quite a crucial one. If the upcoming round's being lost by Godsreen, then you can truly start counting them out from this entire comeback, I guess.
I would have said that that's a move fearlessly round from Reckoning Esports, but they took their sweet time. They moved with information, with purpose. Can't exactly say that that was fearless, but this push from Flaben now, that's definitely fearless, borderline reckless.
Man didn't have his dash primed. And unfortunately, will be taken down, but it's completely fine when you've got Voya on your side. There's nothing to worry about. This man always is able to put up some incredible numbers, and when you've got a man like Voya feeling himself, it's indeed tough to shut down that team, and their Deadly 10's Nanoswarm placement is just perfect. Godsreen, they're getting countered wherever they go on their attacking side.
Reckoning Esports always a step ahead. God's Reign spotted 3 people on C. They saw the Harbor Util, they saw the push in from Flaben as well as Voya. And this tells them, yeah, if there's 3 defenders towards C, then A side would be empty. If not empty, it should be relatively defenseless. Let's use the Rolling Thunder and enter in. And what do they encounter? A burning pit of lava called Nanoswarm. Double of it. Jeez. Like, look at this. This is where all the things started to pan in their favor. They saw Flaben, they saw Voya, they discovered 3 on C, and then they use the Rolling Thunder, get inside, and then they burn alive.
You know what the best part about this matchup? Is that Reckoning Esports don't even have any wards to review beforehand for this map, and they're still able to counter them so well on the defending side.
Yeah. It's always their proactiveness. Like, look at this high tide. Reckoning have been keen on taking A control, but they've never used this kind of a high tide before. They've used cascades, not this. So it keeps on changing every now and then. Last time they pushed C long, this time they push A. I mean, okay, not exactly push, but they're defending it quite actively. God's breaks the doorway and enter the beast site. Deadly 10 doesn't want to give away the satisfaction of a kill. He would much rather concede the site rather than lose man advantage. But Autumn extends a sharp connection onto his cranium.
That's what I call a skull-cracking shot. That little pixel was more than enough for that man to capitalize on that kill. Autumn, his team doesn't even have the superior weaponry, but still, they have managed to get the site control in the hand. The lockdown will now expire, and this meat grinder will be activated. Hoax gets 2 with the help of his teammate, and now the last 2 players are left alive. Reckoning Esports, they have enough amount of money to commit, and they will.
And a very impressive thrifty from God's Reign. And this was such a needed round from them. And if you look at it, it just boils down to this crucial frag, right? Deadly Den solo defending B. All his teammates away from him, not backing them out yet. So Deadly Den makes the right call. He falls back. He would much rather lose the site than lose the site and the man advantage. So he didn't do anything wrong over there. But then comes Autumn. Bladestorm in hand. Lethal intention. And he just lets all hell break loose. Team stun. You don't see that often, but hey, as long as nobody's dead, it's fine.
Trailblazer used from either sides to gain some information. On the other hand, still a decent amount of utilities available. Unfortunately for Sai, he's ran out of guiding lights, none left in his hands. So that informational play might just be a little tough to find out who's positioned in what pockets. Reckoning Esports, they don't exactly know what sort of a hit is coming up. And even God's Reign, they seem quite indecisive of what they want inside this round.
Spike dropped.
Okay.
Here.
40 seconds on the clock, and God's Reign are kind of going for a late execute, but the problem is they haven't really broken the KJ setup. So once they make contact on B, they will need much more time to let those nanoswarms expire. Okay, but I mean, if they're going
30
to
seconds
A,
left.
it's fine. Cosmic Divide put up. This will let them highway into the site, but Master, he's waiting for the right moment. He can't hear them cross yet. Remember, the Cosmic Divide also cancels footsteps. So he could have peeked and destroyed them all, but he doesn't do it. The Reckoning might just change things. And
Oh my
Boya
God!
is so sharp. What on earth is this guy up to? Rebor puts up a killing spree of his own. But this is such a chaotic affair, because now you've got Rebor isolated from the rest of his teammates, and they're just busy trying to join him. The Hobbit is already challenging him on the site. There's a defuse inside the cove. Apprehended, Master lost, and Deadly picking up all the frags. Rebor is left so confused.
Not just him, even I'm confused. What were those shots from Deadly 10? They picked up that round just off of Deadly 10's heroics. He cleared that entire A-main area all by himself. Just single-handedly. He shut both of them down. Those are some incredible shots. Look at this in the replay. His position was known. Both of the players knew that Deadly 10 is in that broken door. But still, somehow, he's able to take 2 players down with him.
Controlled chaos, bro. Controlled chaos. Reckoning Esports hold on to their horses. They don't let the Cosmic Divide of God's Reign phase them. They let the plant happen without any problems, and then they use the Ko hoping to stick. But the moment Rebor tries to get inside, he doesn't find anyone. And he's wondering, where could Master be? He doesn't really find Master, but he meets his maker when Deadly 10 comes across. Roaring like a champion. And now Deadly 10's got the lockdown available, so this makes things even harder for God's Reign.
One more round needed for Reckoning Esports to claim that match point in the hand. On the other hand, a technical timeout being pulled out. Maybe someone's having some sort of issues, and hopefully we're going to get those resorted soon enough. But, okay, it's already done. Maybe it was just a little bit of a misunderstanding, I guess. But, yeah, issues already taken care of, and now this round's going to start off. But Reckoning Esports, they've already got the stars aligned. They have a lockdown available, which is going to help them so much in that retake or even in that site denial.
Once again, another slow approach from God's Reign, but unlike Reckoning Esports on their attacking side, who actively display their presence across the map and keep making noise all over, God's Reign aren't doing nearly enough to bait out Reckoning utility. Reckoning have all of the utilities in place. All nano swarms and turrets active. Boya has plenty of flashes. Yes, Master has used up some of his util, but that's okay because he can get his high tide again. Flash is great. Autumn holds his ground, walks into the stun, but I think he's still safe. The guiding light from Boya keeps him alive, and now the Seeker is invested. B-site invasion in progress, but Autumn hustles through the utility unbothered, and now the rotating doors have been activated so they can highway their way towards the C site, simply so that they can avoid the lockdown. And Autumn is a man cold. He doesn't break the lockdown, but he breaks their hearts and their players' skulls.
30 seconds left.
That one single lockdown caused so much chaos on this entire map. God's Reign just were trying to find out some ways to fall back from this site. They did! And Autumn, this man heroically stood up for his team. And now he's also good for 3. Last man to go in the name of Master. And Reckoning Esports, they've got some solid economy to back up on, so it's completely fine if Master does want to commit.
Such a comical round. Reckoning Esports seemed to be in the driving seat. They were in control. They had all the utility ready. When God's Reign tried to attack B, the lockdown was invested. And they thought, yeah, God's Reign are gonna fall back. But instead, they just took a left turn.
Right there.
Hit the doorway, went to its C. They didn't even plant over there. They just escaped the lockdown, got a couple kills. Autumn was like, screw it. If I die, I die. And then he just went on a rampage.
They think they're the best until we prove them wrong.
11 to 9. Once again, 2 more rounds needed to seal the deal on this map, and 1 more needed to get the map point secured, and also the match point.
Right there.
But Autumn, man, single-handedly was able to save his team. That lockdown just caused so much chaos on the B site. God's Reign was just trying to find some ways to get out of this site. And while doing so, Autumn got rewarded with 2 kills.
2 beautiful kills which Reckoning would have never seen coming. No, slow creep up towards the A side this time. Alright then, God's Reign break the door. Seeker's going towards B and they follow. Meanwhile, at the same time, the switch towards the A side is hit, so now God's Reign is starting to do what I expected to do all this time. The orb! It results in death and destruction! Deadly finds the timing, and even Hoya doubles up. Oh my lord. God's Reign, after such a beautiful performance in the previous round, fumbled the bag. This could have been the round that broke the camel's back. If Reckoning lost this round, their economy would have been in the trenches. But now Reckoning can fight back. At least Autumn still keeps the hope alive. He's deep inside enemy territory. And none of the Reckoning members are close to each other. There's no trading potential between them. So Autumn has the opportunity to pick up 1v1s. But Flappin catches him off guard. He looks away at the worst possible time, leaving it all in the capable hands of Hoax. And while he can be sharp and kill Master, he doesn't know where the remaining players are. He saw Flappin towards the other side, but he could have repositioned anywhere up until now.
Hirsch still just positioned himself in that room. And now Hoax will start to fall back, march towards the A side without giving any sort of foot cues away. Just sneaking in, creeping and crawling his way. He's got 10 seconds left in the hands, Crips. This is quite doable. If he's managing to sneak out this plant somehow, this is indeed doable. The spam's not going to find him because Hoax is planning in quite an unorthodox spot. He does get the spike plant down, and now it's a 1-on-2 activated. 35 HP in the hand, doesn't really have a lot of that to back him up. But if he's able to win these aim duels, then it's going to be solidified pretty well in his hands. Hoax still just waiting for those commitments. He's not going to find any. Catches Flab and slip by. It is also going to use the Rolling Thunder. Man in the close and still not able to get his hands around, and Hirsch was able to dodge it.
This would have been the perfect clutch. It would have been the dream come true for Hoax. He used all the information fed to him by his teammates. Yes, there was a little air of uncertainty because Flabbin got the kill onto Autumn quite some time ago, and at that time he could have repositioned anyway. So he still took the risk to go to a CD spawn, knowing fully well that Flabbin could be prepared to intercept him, but that was a risk he was comfortable with. got towards the A side, got the plant down at the last millisecond. Even the Rolling Thunder farmed up was incredible. But Harsh just jiggled around him. Waited until his the debuff of the concussion wore off. And then he made it possible. Now Reckoning, so close to victory. Staring at map point. All of Hoke's efforts down the drain. There's one glimmer of hope, and that can be Autumn's operator, but he's not going to see any action yet.
Get out of my way.
Rotating doors used once again. Snakebite used to try and stop them for now, but it's not going to be enough. They still managed to make it in. They're still having a clean stroll on that tree area. Trailblazer utilized to get a little bit more info. Now they know there's an operator available, so they're not going to peek out towards a lockdown invested by Godsreen. This will force out the players of Reckoning Esports all the way in the back and let the site control take away. Respecting the lockdown, that's what they're exactly going to do. They fall back, but unfortunately, Woya, he gets detained. Definitely not a good news, but Master catches one slip by. This is huge, Master. He's able to get a 2K, and then Deadly 10 surprises from the back, but that spray transfer was inhuman. And Wabor is now starting to close up the distance. He's the only man left alive. The only glimmer of hope, and Reckoning Esports, they extinguish that, and they get this map win in the hand, and also the series win.
Deadly 10, this guy definitely has a cape on his back. A heroic spray transfer from him gets Reckoning the dub. It was close and very heavily contested, but they all step up with massive margins in the end. Reckoning Esports are moving ahead.
What a game. What a series it has been. Enjoyed it to the fullest. And these guys definitely deserve every single good words, all the good stuff to them. Godsreen though, tough fight given to Reckoning Esports, and Reckoning Esports, they realize they will need to respect the opponents with the amount of heroics even they were able to showcase inside this series. Both of these teams, they gave it all they have, but at the end of the day, Reckoning Esports were just a step better.
All of you guys who came in to watch today, let me tell you, you just witnessed something epic. This was hands down the best series in BCSA so far, at least in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would agree with me when I say this.
I mean, Sai literally had his hands on his face. He was definitely disappointed, especially when they lost the last round, but on the last map. But still, it was valiant effort from the side of Godsreen. Before now, it's time for us to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beat, I get it in. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Way up. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track. better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, just the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. We're known for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, way up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track.